Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And Jacob Wile too.
And tonight, we're talking Mr. Banks. I don't know, that was like my lame version to make that into like
and tonight, we're talking Mr. Banks.
Yeah, right. So, folks,
Banks.
We're talking about Coco, which, oh boy.
You're in for a ride, folks.
Yeah. This movie
emotional
is like
roller
the
coaster.
opposite of The Good Dinosaur, all right? This is like the movie that came out in June of this year was like, yeah, it was good. You know, it was fine. It was solid. Like, I still like Cars 3, you know, but like, oh man. So having said that, folks, just to jump right into our, as we usually do, keep in mind this is going to be a spoiler-filled conversation, and there's a lot of reveals in this, which, we'll try and kind of, we're not going to go through all the reveals all at once, but just,
I'll tell you what, let's, at the very least, let's keep it non-spoiler until after the plot summary, all right?
Sounds good. So
keep it non-spoiler up to that point, then after that, we're going to hit the kind of spoiler-wary territory.
All right. So I got to admit, I was a little bit skeptical about this going in. I heard good things about it, but of course, there were a couple things this film had going against it. The biggest one being Book of Life, which, I mean, honestly, spoiler alert for my thoughts on this movie. This movie absolutely kicks the ever-living shit out of Book of Life. But, but Book of Life was kind of like the main obstacle of like, well, we've seen a Day of the Dead movie already. Like, do we really need Pixar's take on it? Yes, we absolutely do. So basically kind of like I knew that I would like this. Of course, I think probably my biggest concern with this was the whole Frozen situation. I don't want to talk too much about that. We'll do a whole different podcast about Frozen. But suffice to say, I was worried when the Frozen situation first happened that Disney was essentially, like, that Disney didn't have confidence in this movie, essentially. And I was worried that this movie would kind of turn into a little bit of a Good Dinosaur where Disney, is kind of like tugging on their collar a little bit like, yeah, boy, I don't know if this film's going to play well. And so I got to admit, like, I always knew that I would like it, but, yeah, so I'm just gonna literally just read off of my Facebook post, and this is from the second time I saw it. This is like right after the second time I saw this movie. So, a toast to the artistic triumph that is Coco. This film is one of the rare movies to come out these days that's utterly and completely original. I've seen the film 2 days in a row, and I'm getting a legitimate Avatar-style flash of, I have to go back to experience that world right now. Some of the most jaw-dropping world building ever on top of an incredibly layered, if perhaps a bit bloated cast of characters and a familiar yet satisfying story that wraps around the film like a warm blanket. It's too early to tell if this tops Inside Out, but I definitely unabashedly love it. And so, yeah, that's the thing for me. I don't think this film is quite on, like, it's great. It's amazing. It really is. But I feel like Inside Out kind of, basically, I feel like Inside Out fires on more cylinders in terms of the characters. It's a very close call, and I don't want to like take away the triumph that is this movie by saying it's not quite as masterful as Inside Out. But suffice to say, I will say this film is probably, I haven't done my re-ranking of the Pixar films yet, but it might slip into my top 5. It's comfortably in the top 10, easily in the top 10. Might slip into my top 5. So, all right, who wants to go next?
Okay, Dragon or me?
You go
first. I guess I'll go next. All right, I'll go next then. You know me, I'm a big Pixar / I'm a big animation buff in general. So, of course, even on their less interesting projects, I'm always gonna be interested in what Pixar does. And even from a younger age, I've been fascinated in Mexican culture and Day of the Dead and all that. So I was kind of interested to see Pixar's take on Pixar's, you know, way of telling the story of the Day of the Dead. Because there are so many ways it could possibly go wrong, but there's also so many ways it could go right. And after watching this, I can say, oh boy, did they do it right.
Oh yeah.
Because even a lot of people in Mexico and people of that heritage have said like it's like one of the most faithful versions of that they've ever seen.
This is already the highest grossing movie of all time in Mexico.
And that's saying something.
Yeah, it's been out for like a month.
It's really impressive how that is like going in is like and going in, you know how I'm going in, but coming out is like it's like not a lot of movies or a lot of things make me cry in general. This movie managed to give me maybe 2, maybe 3 times. I mean, I'll go over those times when we talk about the movie itself, but I'm sure if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
But this movie, I mean, like, it wasn't even just like a small, bring water to my, bring small bits of water to my eyes. No, it's like, I was full on crying.
Trust me,
Like,
Jacob,
why am I-
trust me, it'll be even worse the second time you see it because you'll know all the themes and like you'll know where everything's building. So trust me on that. Like first time I saw it, I shed a tear or two. Second time I saw it, I was a mess. Like I was like as much of a mess the second time I saw this movie as like the first time I saw the Muppets 2011 and the Rainbow Connection song came on. Like I was losing it.
I was a mess watching it the first time. Watching this the first time, I can only imagine what it's going to be like next time.
Oh, trust me, it'll wreck you, man, in a good way.
I know, but I can overall say it's like throughout this, I've seen this year's been a good one for movies. Don't get how I will say that. I will
This year's
say
been
that.
a great year for movies, but it's been a shit year for animated films.
I mean, okay, admittedly, but I will say this: like, this has been like one of the most satisfying. This is probably like the most satisfying theater experience I've had this year.
Well, Tiki, come on. We've had Captain Underpants and Lego Batman. It hasn't been that bad.
Captain Underpants and Lego Batman are both really good movies, but I wouldn't really cross them into like masterpiece territory like
They
this
don't
one.
they don't tank the year, though. Come on.
Well, I'm saying we've also had some really bad clunkers to measure it out, though, Dragon. Like things that you and I and Jacob have not even like dared to go see in theaters. Let's just say that much.
All right.
But it's like as far as I can remember, like I might not remember every movie I've seen this year, but from what I can remember, this is definitely like the most satisfying I've been to. It's like, I mean, this is an experience. I'll tell you what. I mean, it's like it does so well in so many ways. I mean, like there are moments when it makes you cry, then it makes you laugh while crying.
You're right.
I mean, I just love all the characters. I mean, everything is spot on. Okay, I think that's done before I start spoiling anything.
All right. Okay, so going in, I remember this ever since it was announced. The whole, just of course, Pixar with their very cryptic, kind of vague titles. With basically just give like what the
For the
subject
longest
matter
time,
is.
this was literally just called Dia de los Muertos.
Well, again, at first it was like the untitled Day of the Dead movie. Then it was Dios de los Muertos.
Which caused controversy.
We'll get there.
Yes.
We'll get there. So yes, we get or the Day of the Dead premise ever since getting the Day of the Dead premise fact, Lee Unkrich of all people was taking this on. Of course, Lee Unkrich we know has taken on Toy Story, Toy Story 3, and honestly, that mixed with the teasers, based on that alone, going into the movie,
It was such a good teaser.
It was a great teaser, and of course the two big grabbers for me from the teaser, especially with Tiki on the second, but for me the main thing from the teaser really got me was I always love when Pixar gets the details right and this sort of stuff. I love how immersive and just how accurate they were to De La Cruz, and how just De La Cruz kind of represented kind of the old the movie star, the singer turned movie star, but of course little altar that Miguel had built to De La Cruz that we get to see in the movie. But again, that was our teaser. It was just kind of, it built so much intrigue, and knowing that was Benjamin Bratton, it's like, oh god, because I love Benjamin Bratton so many. I think the more I see that actor, the more I'm head over heels for the guy. He's just so
I hear you.
because remember, he was Superman in Justice League Gods and Monsters. He was in he was a really fun villain, Despicable Me 2, and he was a really fantastic. He had a great role with Bryan Cranston in the Interrogator. So again, he's I'm sorry, the Infiltrator, not the Infiltrator. It was really good in that movie.
Right,
so again,
right.
And also Doctor Strange. He's been really good in all these movies he's appeared in. Again, for small roles or for big roles. Benjamin Bratton, I was instantly sold. Again, I already was sold on just okay, Lee Unkrich, Pixar, Day of the Dead. I'm there. And again, I know I'm a little familiar with Day of the Dead. Of course, basically my familiarity is you learn a little bit about it in school from way back in the day. And then of course, L.T. Gray, which of course the creator of that show. Jorge Gutierrez. He did Book of Life as a takeoff from his experiences on El Tigre, which was a good show, by the way. I would recommend El Tigre to anyone. It was a fine show. And again, there was a lot of Day of the Dead influence in that show, and of course, getting us the Book of Life, which is kind of a barometer set. And again, I had no kind of doubt on Pixar. I was kind of worrying like, oh man, it might be like another Newt situation, but I got faith in them though. Faith in them. And of course, the bridge shot again kind of clinched in the teaser. I went into this movie, I went into the theater, my buddies and I were so excited to see this movie. And actually, I brought Day of the well, they were styled. They weren't like the actual, honest to goodness things. I brought Day of the Dead Skulls, cookie and cream Day of the Dead Skulls to the movie. Yeah, we unwrapped them, we ate them. I was like, oh, it was a good time. It was a good kind of collective.
Is that kind of like a play on the title a little bit?
Well, it was just the fact.
You got.
It was Day of the Dead Skulls, it was the movie about Day of the Dead.
I'm kidding.
Anyway, so basically I went in very much, and again, I think it's one of my thesis statements. I went in very much like I did Up. Up was a movie where they had a general premise, like, okay, old man, a kid, it's an unfinished love story. You see it like one teaser, but again, very little of the marketing, and you go in with that lingering question, why the heck would they call this movie Up, aside from the obvious pun, or so he's going up, so why the heck call the movie Up? And again, it's like, of course, they retold the film from Disney's Words to Coco, and you're going to this movie with all the similar things, and Coco, why the blue blazes is it called Coco? I came out of the movie. I was blown away. I was fighting tears. I was like, oh god, it struck me, and I'm not saying I didn't expect it for the tug of the heartstrings, but I mean, it throttled me by the heartstrings. It was like, oh god, it's such a, it was such.
I hope it gets like a best screenplay nod or nomination or something.
I left the movie just marveling at Pixar again, like in my younger years. Just when I had been blown away time after time with Pixar, and again, it's like I'm so glad that they're still able to do that. This is their 19th film. We're still able to do that. This is late in the games. I'm just again, you guys kind of got me right out of the movie. A few hours after the movie, and you saw me just kind of
right.
So, I mean, again, I was on a kind of collective Pixar high, and I was like tap dancing in my head, I was like, yeah, go, yeah,
tap dancing in my head.
great experience. It's an excellent experience.
Dragon, I'm curious, this or Inside Out?
Why would you hit me with that this early on?
I know. It's like the Sophie's Choice, but it's like for me, I'm leaning towards Inside Out, even though I love this, but.
It's so weird. I think Lee Unkrich it's so funny. I think the Pixar director is starting to kind of formulate a buddy system of like how they're mirroring each other. Because think about it. Andrew Stanton and Brad Bird are kind of mirroring each other in the films that they're doing. In that, of course, Brad Bird, he did Incredibles. Then he did kind of bear in mind, he kind of took over Ratatouille. With the points, he did another film, and of course, he's coming back for Incredibles too. Andrew Stanton, Finding Nemo, Wall-E, Finding Dory.
Right.
And in the case of Lee Unkrich, again, he still has another one to go, but again, I think the argument can be made for either one of these films. He took on Toy Story 3. Well, I mean, he's there from the start. He did Toy Story 3. And, of course, now he's done this. And Pete Docter, he very much is kind of mirroring the path of Pete Docter. Of course, he did Monsters, and then than Up and Inside Out. And this film feels very much kind of, again, from a marketing standpoint, feels very much like Up. But again, in terms of the movie itself, feels very much like Inside Out. So I think it's kind of the answer to Inside. It's like Lee Unkrich's.
I feel like this film is like kind of like a perfect mesh between Up and Inside Out in a way.
Tiki, that's where exactly what I'm trying to hit upon. Yes, and because of that, it's almost impossible to compare them because it feels like an amalgam. But I don't know. Again, I can't really. It's like picking between children at this point.
I feel so hard in love with Inside Out. Like, Inside Out is such a special movie to me. Like, it's so personal to me. And it's not that this film doesn't strike a chord. It certainly does. I don't know.
It's like picking between children.
I understand. Anyway, so Dragon, let's hit some background.
Okay, you got some interesting background here. So Lee Unkrich, of course, the story behind this film is that he pitched a Day of the Dead film after Toy Story 3 as it was being released, 2010. My assumption, again, this hasn't been stated, my guess, I mean, he said the reason he wanted to do a Day of the Dead film, it's for the reason anyone would be drawn to Day of the Dead, quite honestly. It's kind of the really cool contrast you have between the kind of festive skeletons, it's kind of festivities and the cool design and kind of a symbol of death, kind of a grim, it's kind of that great, kind of interesting balance. That's what fascinated him, as many of us looking upon the Day of the Dead celebration, or for some out there participating in the Day of the Dead celebration, I would imagine. And my theory is, I think this is what hasn't quite been said. I want to say maybe this was sparked a little bit by kind of working on Spanish Buzz in Toy Story 3. I would like to think that.
But and also the Sanjay Super Friends, I imagine, as well. Sanjay's.
Sure, but again,
that's not Mexican culture, but it's very much Pixar varied into other culture. You know?
But I'm saying he'd be working on that before that movie was. Well, then again, these movies are made years in advance in the plan. I don't know when that short was put into motion.
You're right. I'm saying with Sanjay, I think Sanjay kind of like maybe influenced the cultural direction in this movie.
You're not wrong.
Went in
I could see. I absolutely see your point on that. I'm not sure that the stars coalesce, but I get you though. Anyway, I'm just saying, getting into, nailing down Spanish Buzz, and of course the Ayos Amigo and Me version of You Got a Friend in Me. I would imagine there would be a lot of Spanish on the brain, so I don't know, that's my 2 cents on. But again, regardless, just the contrast is what kind of inspired the film. That's why he pitched it. So, of course, in typical Pixar style, there are a lot of research trips, and I always love that about these guys. I love that they do their research. I love I think all the best, all my favorite writers, they do really good research, and it takes a team down there. They do multiple research trips, of course, some of them during Day of the Dead itself. They took in the culture. They spent a lot of interesting findings that did make their way into the film. They took note of the importance of family and tradition of Day of the Dead. They studied, and this is the big thing I'm so glad made in the film, I'm so happy to learn this. They studied the myth and the legend of the holiday and the artwork. They really read into things, and they kind of applied.
I'm sure the spirit animals were one of the things that came out of it. Yeah.
The Alabri
also, kind of like a fun thing that came out of this research is the whole the emphasis on the women of the family using shoes as weapons.
I mean, they studied the cobblings and everything. Basically, cobblers and how to build a shoe digitally, and they mapped all that out.
In Spanish culture, a shoe is like a deadly weapon, not just for cobblers.
Oh yeah. But I mean, I think two of my favorite things, as you mentioned, the Alebrijes, so the spirit animals. Again, that's something that actually connects to Frida Kahlo, which is quite possibly why she may or may not appear in this movie.
Oh no.
Potential spoiler. I'm not saying that yay or nay to anything there, but again, there's definitely a Frida Kahlo influence with the Alebrijes. The spirit animals, it's kind of the bioluminescent, kind of glow in the dark kind of art pieces. But the one I'm really thrilled with, Tiki, and again, you can definitely see how this maps in there, but one of their findings in the myth of Day of the Dead is really cool. It's the reason you see so many, they're Aztec marigold petals, which kind of connects to El Dorado, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basically, these marigold petals, the notion is there'd be paths laid, basically they'd be kind of led out as paths from the altars to the families' homes, and the idea is that they would guide the spirits to visit the families. I love that detail, and that's basically based on that. That's why the marigolds became such a hugely important device in the movie, and that's the origin of the bridge. That's the origin of the big marigold bridge we saw in the trailer.
And it's funny, we just saw Thor Ragnarok and we saw like the action scene on the Rainbow Bridge, and it's like, you know what, Thor Ragnarok? I take you your Rainbow Bridge and I raise you this, sir.
To be fair, one thing, again, I have to marvel at this for Ragnarok. It's a little detail. They had guardrails put on the bridge.
I don't know. To tell you the truth, I kind of like the lack of guardrails on this. It made it feel way more naturalistic.
Yeah, and they're already dead, so what harm would it do?
Well, you're not wrong. I'm just saying, the Thor, they learned every time they rebuilt that bridge, they had a little something. Anyway, so Adrian Molina. Adrian Molina is an interesting character in Pixar, because Adrian Molina, he had kind of graduated from story. The way Leon Courage kind of brought him on the project is that he boarded Toy Story 3. He boarded a lot of sequence. Mainly, if I'm remembering correctly, he boarded the Bonnie Playdate sequences from Toy Story 3 especially. He boarded other sequences, those kind of standouts that he did, if I'm remembering correctly. So basically, he brought Adrian Molina on to write the film. And, of course...
hey, you wrote the most heartbreaking scene in Pixar history. You want to write a whole movie?
Well, I was thinking of the middle one, but I mean, I imagine he probably boarded the other one too. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. When you met Bonnie's Playdate, I just instantly jumped to the end of the movie.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, again, there's nothing saying there are a lot of board artists, and I don't imagine he maybe touched the hem of that. I don't know. Oh. But again, he mainly did like Woody's Playdate with regardless. Molina is a good storyboard artist.
But that was a boarding. He didn't actually write that.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's a board artist.
And I know.
Okay, so of course, let's address the name controversy. So essentially, here's what it is, folks. So the movie, of course, was labeled as Day of the Dead or Dias de los Muertos, and again, just the semantic for anyone out there who's really paying attention to the semantics of that. Yes, I've heard that. Now, again, for me, I've always been used to it as Dios de los Muertos because I think that sounds cooler, and it's kind of the way I've heard it. But apparently, I think the proper the way it's now properly said is Dia de Muertos. I think they shortened it, so just to address that at the top. But regardless, Day of the Dead. They were trying to trademark that and kind of put it on the merchandise, hence the kind of the title for the film. And essentially, Mexico read that as, you're trying to trademark our holiday to profit off of it. No, you can't use you can't use our holiday. Basically, you can't collect money for our holiday. No, and they changed the title.
Like if Germany decided to make Hanukkah the movie.
Right, and it basically led to the very plot relevant change of Coco, and of course Conan O'Brien made great light of this. And I watched the clip where Conan O'Brien's kind of called him out, like, "Hey, my nickname and everything is Coco." Right. And again, I love this too. I love the Pixar connection all here because we're Conan O'Brien got his nickname
Conan O'Brien, Brad Bird.
Well, no, his name Tom Hanks nicknamed him Coco in the first place.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just like that is kind of a Conan O'Brien Pixar connection, though.
Well, sure. I'm just saying Conan O'Brien has a lot of animation connections. So
of course.
I'm always so proud of that Conan O'Brien. He's doing it right. He's doing it right. He's open to monologues, needs work, but he's doing it right.
Well, I mean, he used to work on The Simpsons, so it made sense that he would know Brad Bird.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Anyways.
Okay. Last. Okay. Two quick bits here. So, of course, yeah, the chance to Coco. They wanted to hold up to musician scrutiny here. I'm so proud of this. They put GoPros on the guitars. Of course, they record the voice actors as well as the musicians in this case. And when they record the musicians, they put GoPros on guitars, so basically they could capture the hand movements, like down to the nth level for the details. So basically, again, like any musician in the world was like, I understand. Okay, that guy's actually playing guitar that well. It's kind of a good kind of challenge, good kind of a mountainy challenge to climb. Of course, Pixar, they like to do it right over there. Like, they don't need to do that, but they did, and it was great. The quote the John Lasseter's line, "We like to sand the undersides of the table." That's the line. Good line. Of course, lastly, most impressively, I'm making up this percentage, but essentially, I want to say, with the exception of John Ratzenberg, it's a 98% Mexican cast, like a cast of Mexican descent.
I totally forgot about Ratzenberger. Where does he show up?
Again, I can't track his. I know he's in the movie. I can't remember what his I can't track his name. I couldn't pick him out because I was so entranced with the movie. I couldn't pick him out.
Because I've seen it twice, and like I was so entranced by the movie that I wasn't even looking for him.
Apparently, he plays Juan Ortodoncia.
Exactly, and again, unfortunately, we don't really know who that guy is.
No.
The movie goes by really fast, and it's a lot of fun. I'm sorry, folks. He was that good. He's getting that good. He's a chameleon in the frame now. Anyway.
I gotta say, though, I miss John Ratzenberger having, like, supporting roles.
Well, again, we're going to get a lot of that coming up.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it feels like it's kind of becoming a little bit of a go-to to have him be a cameo more than, I don't know. Anyways.
Okay, anyway, so that's bad.
Well, it makes sense here.
Yeah, of course it makes sense here. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Anyway, so again, really impressive.
He's probably not going to have that much of a bigger role in The Incredibles 2.
Outside of the opening scene, I'm assuming.
Yeah, considering he's the Underminer and all that.
Anyway. So again, still knowing the whole again, really impressive. It was almost entirely again. I want to say basically Leon Krajolse might have had a cameo or two. So I say 98% just kind of cover all bases there.
Oh, can I? Speaking of cameos, no, hold on. Never mind. I'll save it for the. I'll save it. I'll save it.
All right, we're getting. I think I know what you're talking about. We'll get there. So again, it's like 98%. Mexican. I looked this up. Everyone has is coming from Mexican descent. Again, like
the cast feels so authentic in this movie. It really does.
Some of them actually voiced the characters in both the English and Spanish.
That's true.
Like I don't know all of them, but Hector for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Also, a few of them have
voiced by the same guy.
Yes. Also, interesting, some of the casting polls, and this isn't a surprise for Leon Krige because he kind of did this by accident on Toy Story 3 when he cast when he cast Spanish Buzz. Spanish Buzz was actually the actor who did the Spanish Buzz, who did basically Buzz's Spanish dub for the toy in real life.
Really?
So it doesn't
surprise. He didn't even know that when he cast him.
He did not even know that.
Oh, that's funny.
That's the thing. So I mean, I want to say maybe pulling intentionally for that. Some of these again could be taught by accident. Some of the cast we have, like in smaller roles, especially they did the dubs for not the toys entirely, but the dubs for other characters. Like one of them did the dub for Trixie from Toy Story 3. One did the dub for her, and it's like kind of like a little fun, like in a small. Well, what a small world after all. All right. Anyway, that's all she wrote. Of course, all contributes to the whole. That is Coco.
All right, hit us with a plot, Dragon. And I'm very curious because one of the things about this movie I feel like is much like Up. This movie is very, very hard to summarize. So, Dragon, give it your best shot, man.
Here we go, folks. Non-spoilery summary. And afterwards, we'll kind of get a little more loosey-goosey with that. But here we go. Okay, so our story centers around 12-year-old Miguel Rivera, who aspires to be a musician like his idol, Ernesto de la Cruz. But the Rivera family has banned music since Miguel's great-great-grandmother, Mama Imelda, and her daughter Coco were abandoned by Imelda's musician husband. Now, Miguel's abuelita, Elena, enforces the ban very strongly, which of course leads to conflict.
And lots of shoes.
Lots of shoes, yes. If that's not kicking the pants, I don't know what is. So, everything changes when Miguel discovers he's linked to Cruz. And having learned that, he pursues music against his family's wishes, which leads to a big argument and Miguel running away, which leads him to the land of the dead with his pal, with his ever loyal, ever present pal Dante, the dog.
Yes, Dante's leading him through the land of the dead. Sound familiar?
Yes, and with Dante as Miguel and Dante, mainly Miguel, I should say. Miguel learns about his family directly. Let's say,
right.
directly. He goes on an adventure with a stranger he meets in the land, Hector, new character, a fun character named Hector, who wants to be remembered. His driving focus is that he wants to be remembered, and basically he goes on an adventure with Hector to meet De La Cruz and get De La Cruz's blessing to become a musician. Of course, along the way, there's some big twists, turns, ample heart, and a lovely, lovely ending.
Oh
and
God, the ending! Oh man,
and that's the movie.
The ending just gets you right in the heart.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about. Let's go through character by character, starting with Miguel.
Yes, Miguel Rivera.
A very well-rounded kid character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Anthony,
voiced by newcomer Anthony Gonzalez.
yeah, did an excellent job, that kid.
You know, I gotta say, like, I feel like the kid's very authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, definitely.
Not only that, he can sing too.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Tiki, did you see they had like a little promotional thing? I don't know where this was. I assume it was in a Disney park, but I could be wrong. But basically, they had a guitar set up, and basically, they had like the kind of the one of the trademarks of like you like seize your your moment, like seize your moment, I think.
Yeah, that.
And basically, you pull the string of the guitar, and basically out from it, the Anthony Gonzalez comes out and he starts singing "Remember Me." They're singing the song. He has like a whole band and everything behind him. It's like it's almost like a pull sword from a stone type trick.
No, but I mean, I can pretty much guarantee you that this movie is going to replace the Three Caballeros ride at Epcot.
Oh, fun fact, because I forgot to mention this in the backstory real quick. Is just it's something kind of funny. Is that Pixar? They've always had a history of. They have their own Three Caballeros. They have their own. They have mariachi bands. Mainly when Brad Bird was doing The Incredibles. You remember this from the bonus features, don't you? Mm-hmm. Basically, every time they finished a shot, they would have kind of a mariachi band. I think Disney also did this too. Well, we know Disney did something like this, so I guess it was kind of a tradition.
If that's not a way to motivate production, I don't know what is.
It's kind of funny. I guess it carried over from Wake and Sleep, what we saw in Wake and Sleep and Beauty, when they had basically when they were at a high point during the very end rap party, they had mariachi bands playing, and Pixar's they had a around the clock mariachi band with the Three Caballeros.
That's ridiculous.
But for The Incredibles, like during the rap party of every shot.
Dragon, why didn't you work that into your Lasseter biopic somewhere?
Tiki, I'm only one man, Tiki. I can only do so much. You want to do it again?
No, especially not given the current political climate.
All right, fine. Anyway, so Miguel.
Yeah, I gotta say that, like, Anthony Gonzalez, he's so genuine and authentic that it took me a little while to get used to the performance. Like, he definitely doesn't sound like a kid actor, if that makes any sense. Like, he just sounds like a kid just having a conversation with you. You know what I mean?
He's such a relatable kid.
And that's what makes it so believable. And
yeah.
I mean, not that animation should exactly strive for believability, but I mean, I'm not who like put. I'm kind of like one of those guys that like strives like animation should be used to animate, not just basically create another reality, just create real life, if you know what I mean. But
basically, in animation, you should be authentic before you're believable.
Yes.
Let's face it, this movie has some of the best world building ever. In terms, like, this movie does not skimp on the using animation to its fullest potential, but I think having realistic characters is important.
A lot of people have said that. I'm not saying it's a criticism. I'm just saying people have noted this. I think it's very different the way they approach it. Some people say Ratatouille is kind of having some similarities to this film, and that you have someone trying to pursue their passion. Of course, they're going after their idol, and of course, just based on kind of the hilarity of this movie, of course, his idol is dead. But how that goes. Regardless, of course, the difference is you have and the reason I bring it up is you have a strong sense of family. It's kind of carrying. There's the strong connecting point of family all throughout Miguel's story. It kind of takes him through that. Where Remy's kind of he's distancing himself from his family for the most part. Mm-hmm. But there is still that kind of battle for acceptance, of just getting your family to accept you on some levels. I mean, again, there's some similarities from some similar good material.
I will say the first act was kind of like, to me, it was like everything once we got to the land of the dead was just absolutely amazing and just so good. And I'm not saying I'm not saying the first act was bad by any stretch, but the first act was definitely the most formulaic out of the movie.
But I tell you this, Tiki, even at that point though, in the first stage, in the human world, I mean, I was blown away by, as Jacob's kind of on, the authenticity of it, because again, it just felt like, again, I can root for this kid. You understand why he's hiding his passion, why he has like kind of a little private altar built, and again, just kind of the visual storytelling of that going on. Again,
well, I'm just saying, mostly the whole like him having a passion and having to hide it from his family, like it's done well. It's just we've seen that in a million other animated films.
Yes, but again, as we'll get into the other characters, again, we'll see how they really they helped flesh that out in a different way, though.
Okay. Let me see.
I just really like Miguel's arc throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like, okay, now we're just following the kid, but we really care about the other characters. You cared about that kid as he was going through this journey, and he didn't. I love that he was a fallible kid. Like after he gets the blessing, of course, he immediately he goes back to stealing the guitar.
That's the biggest laugh out loud moment in the movie for me.
Again, Imelda basically said, like, it's only been 2 seconds, you already break your promise.
And again, that's the
how that was played.
See, that's great on a story level, which we'll get to when we get to the world building. But on the character level, there, it's so it helps us show this is a real kid. He's fallible. He's gonna
okay, I got out of that situation. Let me just do exactly what got me into that situation to begin with. What could possibly go wrong?
Exactly. And again, he's a little, at the same time, he's a little silly, but he's kind of he's got everything you want to have in this kind of
time so perfectly.
I think
it's like you can tell he wasn't expecting to go back immediately, but he broke the conditions.
He has everything that you would want in a protagonist who's going to go, basically a learning protagonist. A protagonist who goes on a journey, and basically the protagonist goes on a journey to a different land and kind of taking in everything. I think he has that without being stale, without just being like being like the audience avatar. Like he's a character before he's an audience avatar. I think that's important.
A segment in the film that lasts like less than a minute, but I think establishes his character really well is just like a kid is when we're seeing the bond of him and Grandma Coco.
Yes, and that's great because we see what he does with Coco. He wrestles. I love his.
I love Coco in the wrestling mask.
See, that's the great thing is that Coco, let's face it, Coco, she's immobile, and we'll get to more highlights of Coco momentarily. But I'm just saying, on the whole, is that for this section, Coco, she's present, and he even though she is not a mobile, lively character, she is still involved and she's still valued. And the kid shows respect to his elders, and even of course we've had that with some other. Again, just on the whole, he shows a great respect for his family and elders. But again, he's been pushed to a point, and that's what motivates his change. It motivates kind of his moment of change, and he wants to please his family, but at the same time he wants to be his own man. He doesn't want to be held back. There's a lot of nature versus nurture in Miguel's arc, and I think we'll break that down a little when we get to the music stuff of it all. So
So visually with Miguel, to me, one of the most impressive visuals of the whole film is how they dealt with his translucent skin.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, I love it. I love it as it progresses to basically the last second we get.
Because it's subtle, but it's like every time you see it, it's like basically every time you see it, it's a little bit worse. They do such a good job of kind of gradually. It's such a good kind of like ticking time bomb. You know what I mean?
Of course, the way the effect
it's like the ultimate like Back to the Future picture.
By 1 second, but yes, exactly like that. The hand scene from Back to the Future, as it's it's that ticking time bomb. It's like one step away from being just like the big kind of Earth angel, like boom, dun dun dun. Like the hands disappearing, like oh God.
right.
It's that sort of thing, and of course, like I think one of the most impressive for me, though, again, while it was all great, towards the very end, it became so lightly so. Again, like his face was disappearing without you noticing that his face was like he didn't lack a face, but you could see through it. You could see like kind of he almost looked tired. That's how well they animated that. It looked like he had circles on his eyes, but no, that's because everything not not important to the skull of his face is translucent. That's why he looks.
Yeah, it's
great.
Pretty incredible.
Like, squint, you can see the bone, you can see the whole skeleton outline, but it was so well executed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the animators here are working on that. Like, we have the fight intersection. You mean to tell me we're gonna do a intersection, but we gotta still make it look solid?
God.
Lee, you're asking too much. I'm out of here. You mean you quit? No, I'm going on lunch break. I'll be right back.
Okay.
You're making me stress eat, Lee.
It's kind of like how Brad Bird described it. It's like sometimes it's like they could like tell he was displeased, but you're just like, it's okay. And then like you could tell like, oh boy, he doesn't like it.
God, the stamp! I love the stamp. Anyway, not Brad Bird. It's Leon Cruz. It's Coco. So let's dive right back. Anything else we want to say? Again, Miguel, we could spend a lot of time on. So you think we should?
No, I'm good. Let's move on to Dante.
Dante.
So first of all, I love the reveal of where Miguel got the name from.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
I love.
He named it De La Cruz's horse in one of his movies.
And again, I love how we see all these visual cues of him emulating him, but we also have like kind of this subtle, kind of clever writing, kind of symbols of him emulating De La Cruz. Because of course, he had like little additional alter, had a guitar that he painted painstakingly to look like De La Cruz's.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with one thing that, and just the way he looked, he kind of reminded me of that dog, that play dog from Over the Hedge, almost.
I could see that, yeah.
A little, but again, what's so cool about Dante, though, is that Dante is such a unique dog, and that rarely do you see a Mexican hairless dog like this, where he's, they animate him, I don't know where I heard this, I can't remember for the life of me, but, I don't think I can hold this. He almost moves like a sausage or something. Like he's like flopping around everywhere. He's like on the ground. He's jostling everywhere. It's funny. Like this dog moves in such an unusual way that it's funny, and it's again the character's amusing on that visual level, but again the dog has character too.
Right.
He's like the classic dumb animal sidekick.
Yeah, this dog is a dumb animal with a heart of gold, and of course the reveal with Dante kind of settles what initially seemed to be a plot issue, but no, my God, it was so much better than that. And again, it's like every time you get your raised number, like, oh, I wonder where they're going with this, and oh my God, they went there with it. Yes, that's
Spirit Guide.
Yes. And of course, now here's something. You're reading light spoilers. You're reading the major ones later on, but the light spoiler with the whole Albert.
Can you guys clarify something with that reveal, though?
What?
So Dante is dead, right?
No, Tiki. Here's your.
Okay, yeah, you're gonna have to clear this up for me because I was kind of confused about it a little.
Dante is a spirit animal, otherwise known as an Alebrije. Now the Alebrijes. Now, one I want to highlight this real quick. I love the introduction. I love all the visual hints of this because we see in the beginning when Dante's introduced, we go through that table of like the knickknacks, and this is the stuff they studied over in Mexico. Basically, it's like a little table set up. They have all like the colored little carvings. As well, with a few Pixar Easter eggs on that table, from Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. But anyway, you go through. At the end, Dante's in the garbage can, so it's like signaling to the audience, like, "Hey, you don't know it yet, but he's an Alebrije. He's right next to the table with him. I love that." And then
now this is the thing. You're gonna have to like kind of, because I thought the reveal that he was essentially kind of like a spirit guide from Miguel, and he was like a dog who had died long ago.
No, you're close. He is a spirit guide. He did not die because basically you saw Dante and you saw the cat, right? Remember the cat at the end? Basically, the idea is like they exist in the living world, but
that's what confused me. Yeah,
it's like like on the other side they're like kind of the color coded, like it's Dante and the Chimera. Dante and the Chimera.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
basically, they have like a turtle. I'm sorry.
So one of them kind of reminded me of the God Quetzalcoatl, but I was like, kind of based visually, of course.
It's like they can exist on. It's either like they can exist on both planes, or it's just like that's what they look like on that world, and it's like that's what they look like on the other side.
Interesting. Okay.
Most likely, they can just. It might be they can cross over. That's a little unclear, but I think it works either way. So you can look at it as okay, well, this is just what they look like in this world, but they're in the other world. They look more fantastic. they're not dead. You know, they can cross it, which is what a spirit animal does. Like I can cite many examples from Avatar: Last Airbender, but I don't really think that would service you well. So we can. Yeah.
All right, should we move on to Hector?
Oh,
Yes.
I don't even know where to start with this guy without getting into major spoilers, honestly.
Hector, as a character, Hector's a lot of fun.
I think Hector is one of the most layered and multi-dimensional Pixar characters we've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
like I like the slow revelation we find with him.
Hector initially seems as kind of like a trickster drifter almost. Like he seems like be like a desperate character. It's like he wants to get over to the other. They
kind of play a bing bong with him. You know what I mean? Where it's like when he first shows up, you're like, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah, I think we're on the money with that.
It's kind of like almost like it's like. I mean, it almost leads you to the ways like this is like kind of like Inside Out, an antagonist-less movie. In a way.
Yeah, right.
Almost.
He's like a sly trickster with no relation, just a drifter trying to get help kind of thing.
Mm.
And of course, what's really funny is that he has an identical thing in common with Bing Bong. Aside from that, is that of course he doesn't want to be forgotten.
Yes,
which is Bing Bong's whole character. Honestly, I think that's where Pixar cracked it good. You want to like a very memorable, endearing characters. Make sure it's like here does not want to be forgotten. That's your guy. That's how you crack the code. That's how you do it.
Well, at least he actually gets remembered.
That's true, yes. But again, Bing Bong died for our sins, though. You know, he died for Riley's sins. Anyway, we'll live on. We'll be fine. It'll be okay. Anyway.
So yeah, honestly, I really don't want to talk too much about Hector until we get more into the twist.
How about on aesthetic level? I mean, again, the animation on how he walks is like a skeleton. I mean, and we can talk about him being the whole threat of being forgotten without getting into the reasons why.
Of course,
yes, like the whole. I love this. Initially, it seems like he's walking like a skeleton. Of course, we have all these very different variety of skeleton walks and how clothing interacts with the skeletons. Like they pull the waist is really cinched tight, so basically the clothing can. Again, the cloth on skeleton is really impressive in this movie.
I like a lot of the skeletal humor in this.
Yeah, and of course the animation skeletons are fantastic. How like basically they can literally talk with their hands, and they can if they want to emulate shock. Of course, the eyes will fall to the mouth. It's kind of gross, but it's also kind of fun how they bounce around. What do you guys feel about the eyes? I like the eyes.
And the eyes are fine.
I mean, I think in general, the whole concept of animating a world that's just filled with skeletons. Dragon, we've joked about this thing before, but like it kind of feels like a Pixar drunken dare almost.
Well, we kind of joked about that more with Lou, but yeah, you're right. It
still kind of feels like, hey, I dare you to make a whole world of skeletons and make every single skeleton visually interesting, visually distinct. You know,
hey, Lee. Pete, leave him alone. Lee, listen, he just puts his arm around Lee. Lee, listen to me, buddy. Okay, here's what I want you to do. Look, you know what? Lee, tell me what I've done. Please, I forgot. Tell me what I've done. Okay, you did Monsters Inc. You did Monsters Inc. You did Up. You did Inside.
Lee, I did a movie based entirely out of metaphysical concepts as characters, Lee. That's what I did.
Yeah, Lee, come on. I know what I'm talking about here. Lee, here's what you got to eat. Lee, you say you want to do a Day of the Dead film? You want to do a Day of the Dead film? I'm saying go with that feeling, man. Go with it. Add guitars. Add music. And you know what you need? Okay, I'm gonna give you some sage advice here, okay? Get real close. Listen, Lee. Sage advice here.
Oh, God.
The window to the soul is through the eyes. So here's what you want to do. Listen. Shh. Okay. Lee, all right, listen. Look at me. Watch my finger. Okay, listen. So, Lee, here's what you need to do. People seeing skulls. Skulls are scary. Skeletons, they really be scary. Yeah, I know scary. I did monsters. They're scary. But what you want to do is you want to make them look human because they're visiting their families on Day of the Dead, right? That's how it works. Visiting their families on Day of the Dead. Yes. And when they do that, they're going to want to visit their families, and they're going to want to see them with human eyes, because that's when they were humans walking. It's like the plane of existence they're existing on. It's another metaphysical level. It's them being human in their connection with them. So the eyes quite literally are the window to the soul, between planes, between realities, between worlds. Do you see what I'm saying, Lee? Yeah.
Dragon, I hope you realize that whole rant is keeping me from seeing the Jungle movie. Like, yeah.
Sorry.
Anyways.
Okay.
Just a shout out to Gail Garcia Bernal, who is just fantastically voiced Hector.
And again, he can be funny, but at the same time dramatic.
And he did it in both English and Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's very impressive. But you see, I did mean what I said about the eye thing, though, so that was kind of...
Yeah.
You know. All right.
I'm sure we'll talk more about Hector when we get into, bigger spoilers.
But again, I like that the walk is also kind of signifying that, he's walking with that limp for a reason. Because
wait, hold on. One thing to say about Hector before the reveal, though. I love, this also kind of ties into the real building, but I love the ghetto. Where all the forgotten people are.
Oh right, yeah. I got yes. Oh yeah, that's why he has this friend Chicarone, who's played by the wonderful Edward James Olmos. Who I've been in the same room with once.
Nice.
He literally walked right behind me. I didn't know he was there, but he walked right behind me. Anyway, the point is yes. But yeah,
it's gonna sound like a weird comparison, but this scene reminded me of what I like about the all the good parts of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Essentially, in kind of sort of like with Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, we have that whole idea of the immortality, and this scene very much played into that. I don't know.
I will admit I did whisper to my friend when that scene happened. Again, it was a really great dramatic scene, and it does. Look, we'll get to the big mystery of everything. We'll get there. Boys, it kind of sets up some stuff, but I will say this: I did whisper to my buddy. I guess he's double dead. Well, skeleton humor. But yeah, just bridging off that to kind of finish my point here. But the whole I like that it kind of sets up being forgotten again. It's kind of weakening kind of the skeletal system. That's why he's walking with them. That's why a great thing you have with Hector. And again, we'll get into the majority of this momentarily. But I love that his lines have a subtle sadness on the rewatch where he's walking through and he says, "I don't walk with a limp," and of course you think it's a funny line. I don't walk with a limp, but actually he's walking like that for a very sad reason. That he's being forgotten.
Right, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You get so much great dimension and layers with Hector, despite the fact he has no skin. So, moving on.
Okay, let's talk about Mama Imelda.
I love Mama Imelda so much.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
One, I love the actress. I mean, she's done a lot of great things. She's in voice work. She was Manny Rivera on another Rivera, which is kind of funny. I kind of wonder if there was some subtle screw use to Book of Life in this movie with the Rivera name. I kind of wonder. But anyway, Alana Ubalk. I'm pretty sure I looked it up. I think that's how you pronounce her name, Alana Ubalk. She's an excellent actress. She's been on a lot of shows I liked, and of course, I
think she's also in Welcome to the Wayne.
I'm pretty sure, yes. I mean, she does a lot of voices. She does a lot of good live action work too. She's been on a show with Thomas Jane. She does a good job. She's in Waiting with Ryan Reynolds. She's been good.
Mm-hmm.
So of course she is Miguel's great grandmother. And again, I love that we start the movie with her. I think it was a really great call. And what I love about Mama Imelda and her granddaughter herself, with Abuelita Elena, which we'll soon. What I love with those two characters, I love there's an unspoken kind of bond. Basically, we see Imelda, her influence on other characters, and influence on the families. That Imelda embodies in the bloodline. She embodies the strong female character. She embodies the strong female character who, again, the fact that she took up cobbling, I love, plays into this thematic idea of she didn't break down, she didn't weep, she literally pulled herself up by the bootstraps and she made shoes to go forward, to kind of put her shoes on and kind of move forward in the world. And she made a business out of it. She was she didn't have time to feel sorry for herself. She had a daughter to provide for. She's such a strong, awesome character with a cool design, and I loved everything about Mama Imelda.
I love the introduction to her, in the Land of the Dead when she's. First of all, I love how they set it up, where it's Miguel took her picture, and so that means that she can't get across the bridge, and so that's why she's separated from the rest of the group. I think this movie, it does a very smart kind of American Tail-esque way of making Imelda just miss characters like Hector. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Where it's throughout the movie, it's because, of course, we're going to talk about the connection between character Hector and Imelda soon, but like throughout the movie, it's like very much kind of like that. We're kind of getting the two, like the Rivera family kind of going after Miguel, and Miguel, off with Hector. So,
but I love Tiki, and I love that we kind of get this in the movie. Where Hector's running, sorry, not Hector. When Miguel is running away from his family. When Miguel is doing that, I love that we just kind of I love that before a certain reveals, Imelda and the family, especially Imelda, because again, she's the genesis of all this. She is the villain, but only the villain in the context of the family is, she's holding him back. She's kind of held the family back, from music in a way.
Right.
Basically, to Miguel, she is a villain, even though obviously, I love the complexities we have again with that strong female bloodline. Where Imelda again, no way do I think she's a bad guy, especially at the beginning. Also that great animation in the beginning where we have the paper cutouts that they kind of animate in 2D. It all look great. That's one out there, but I look again, so much character is infused in that scene, and she is she is, for all intents and purposes, before we reveal things, she is his antagonist, but again, in no way a bad person, because she was doing it for her family, and she's not wrong. But you understand,
Miguel knows she's not a bad person too,
and that's the thing. Like, he still loves her, but at the same time, he's mad at her. He's like, the other thing, he's not mad at her. He's frustrated with her, and I love that we captured that.
I think the most chilling scene in the whole movie is the scene between her and Miguel in the alleyway.
Yeah, the alleyway gates.
Just the atmosphere in that scene, because you have like all the party stuff going on in the background, this whole world, and it's just, I don't know. There's something about just kind of like the time and place of that moment between them and Imelda breaking out into song. And
there's so much fascinating stuff to say about Imelda. I could go on for an hour, but let me boil down to this. With that alley scene, I think with that alley scene, we have a really great moment in that. What builds to the alley scene is the fact that Imelda almost, again, in her mind, she's kind of like it's almost like a taunt, where basically we have the way of sending Hector in, which I'll get into the brilliance of that from a narrative perspective soon, but I'm saying what's great about it from a character perspective is that she offered, basically she tells him, hey, I'm going to help you. Is that basically it's almost like such an adult problem too, of like the mother, the strong, the maternal figure of the family is like offering help, and it plays to Miguel as an insult. Miguel is, it's like, hey, I'm going to send you home, but you have to abide by what I'm saying here. Honor my wishes, and I will give you my blessing. But it's like saying, I want to help you. I will always help you, but you have to do it by my rules. And of course, it's like it'll hurt Miguel, but at the same time, like, she's not saying she won't help him, because again, they are family. They're going to be there for each other. At the same time, they're not going to be, emotionally where they want to be. So yeah, great complexity all throughout Imelda. I was very happy. And of course, the turns we have with her later on, it's great how she's so conflicted. She addresses it's like, I don't know, I'm feeling anymore.
yeah.
Oh god, so she was probably one of my favorites in the movie. Oh, there's so many good characters in this movie. She was great.
I mean, without getting directly into the connection between her and Hector, I will say those two just complement each other so well.
Yeah, they're such a great, they're a great pairing of characters, let's say.
They act like an old married couple.
Oh, yeah.
You could say that.
And you may or may not be right. Anyways.
All right, anyway.
So let's get to...
Abuelita.
Thank you.
Yes. Abuelita Elena.
All right. Yes. Not much to say about her. I think one of the funniest bits in the movie comes very early on when she's just, scolding Mariachi.
Yes, and again, that was another great scene with Miguel too, where he has like these friendly interactions with the Mariachi, and he looks up to these guys. And he's very
because, of course, Cheech Marin, who signed a contract with Hollywood to be in every movie about Latino culture.
To be fair, he had done Cars, so he's been around in Pixar.
Yeah, I'm just saying he gets around.
They did pull a few book.
I was like, I could barely even tell that was Cheech, though.
I could tell it was Cheech.
Well, again, I could have sworn that Cheech Marin was. No, that's not him. He's not the mariachi guy. Tiki. But Cheech Marin, he's the officer later on, the one that wants to send Hector out of there.
Oh, right.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
See, Gabriel Iglesias, he's not the mariachi guy.
Yeah, you're right. It is Iglesias. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying I don't think he's the mariachi guy either. Iglesias is like another guy. I'm saying there are a lot of familiar faces.
It's hard to keep track of all the
A mariachi is Lombardo Boyar.
That's the one. That's
okay. My bad. I'm embarrassed now.
We're embarrassment of great Mexican actors in this film.
But what I love about how it's like, she takes her shoe off, and I love how Miguel is like,
she's like a gunslinger with
the guitar back. I don't want to die.
She's like a gunslinger with a heel. It's amazing.
And then later when she hits Dante with the shoe, it's like, don't name a dog. Now go please fix my shoe.
But I love the animation of her when she's going off on mariachi. How she's like a combination of just absolutely furious with mariachi and then like going off about how sweet and precious her grandson is.
I know, Tiki, and that's the thing. I hit this with Elena. Elena, I think, is a great character. And again, before we even met Imelda, we had Elena. I think Elena kind of still carried that first part of the movie.
She's a great example of like Imelda being, she like without her in the movie, you wouldn't exactly get just how much of a presence Imelda has on this family in general.
Exactly, and I love how she represents that. Again, she has been the enforcer of Imelda's wishes, of Imelda's will. And again, she very much admired Imelda, and again, she has nothing but sympathy for her mother, and she has nothing but admiration for her grandmother, and kind of evoking as much as she can. I can't remember if they had a line of that Imelda died young or not, because that would kind of help me out a little. Tiki, you saw it twice. You remember? Was there a line?
What it says is it says that Imelda died way before Miguel was born. I'm not sure.
All right.
But to be fair, though, I think in the world building of the movie, the skeletons appear about the same age as when they died.
You're right about that, but then again, the skeleton face is kind of hard to tell.
No, I know, but like for example, with Coco, you can clearly tell that the Coco skeleton. Spoiler.
Yeah, the way it looked like is that they look the way their pictures do.
Well, I'm just saying with Coco, it kind of.
No, I think Tiki's right. I agree. I think Tiki's absolutely right about the whole you die. You look at it as when you died, so I'll go with that.
Because Coco doesn't look like a little girl to Hector, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry, folks. This is a spoiler cast.
Again, we warned him after the plot was going to be. We haven't gone to the major ones, but again, you know what I mean. That's a vaguely major spoiler, but to be fair, she was getting really up there. I mean, come on, it was kind of.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I honestly, I think the spoiler isn't that she dies. It's like the placement of when she dies.
Sure. But anyway, the Battle Lane. So again, the thing that really won me over with Elena right from the get go is that again the authenticity that struck me in the opening. Why I'm really high on the that introduction is that. Great Delisle, she's talked about her upbringing. Great Delisle has always talked about her upbringing. She had her mother and her grandmother were absolutely like Imelda and Elena, and again like the strong-willed women who like they would have no qualms just walking up and kind of insulting people, but in a loving way, and like they wouldn't be mean-spirited people. They do, and they were strong-willed women. They would it's. And again, I
will say I have an aunt that very much reminds me of this character.
That's what I'm saying, because I've heard Great Delisle going so much about that. Again, they really influenced who she kind of grew up to be. And again, it's like I could absolutely see that when the movie was happening. It's like blown away. Yeah, my God, Elena sounds just like Great Delisle's grandmother. It's
right.
it's amazing. And again with Imelda, again, she is not a bad guy whatsoever. But at the same time, she's the enforcer of Imelda's will, which puts her in conflict with Miguel. And again, you hit it perfectly on the head with that scene where again she's gonna beat a mariachi got a death almost, but at the same time, my lovely grandson. What did he say? What did he say to you? What did he say to corrupt your beautiful innocence?
It's like so on point between fury and admiration.
And again, in the end, she's kind of also the enforcer. Like Miguel has to get around her, and again, it's love, but at the same time, she'll hug you, but she'll smother you at the same time. It's like you don't want to mess with Abuelita.
Yeah, so she's got a small but very, very effective role in the movie.
Yes. And again, I love that she's the loving daughter, too. Like she very much guards her mother.
Sure, very much so.
Yeah, speaking of which.
Okay, oh God. So,
the title character herself.
Yes.
I want to address the fact that this is the title. Interestingly, Monkey very much does not like the fact that this is the title of the movie. I'm sorry, Monkey. I think you're probably watching this right now. I gotta say, I'm kind of on the other end of the fence. I sort of love the fact that this movie is named Coco.
She's basically the crux of the whole movie in a way.
Monkey, you have no idea what you're talking about, mister.
Like, I like how it sums up the whole movie, but you really have to watch the movie to understand why it sums up, everything.
Yes, again,
That's
Coco
like I said,
is...
Know who Coco is very early on in the movie, but that doesn't explain why the movie is called Coco. You know what I mean?
Coco's the glue. She's the center point of everything.
admittedly, when I first heard about this, I was like wondering if it was like some unrelated Dia de los Muertos thing I'd never heard of before. Or potentially a character in the movie, as I...
Well, back in the speculatory days, too, I thought I was wondering, like, is it like a beverage? Or is it like kind of like trademark beverage or something? What's going on here?
Right.
Is it like, like Coco? What's going on?
So I will say, on a visual point of view, even though she has very limited movement, she might be the single most impressive human character Pixar's ever done.
And again, now, of course, bridging up a little bit with Coco, of course, we saw, strides in kind of animating elders in Up, and it was fascinating. Of course,
this is like leaps and bounds even above Up.
In that regard, yes, but to be fair, we have a character who needed to kind of go on an adventure and Up. In this case, we have a character who kind of needs to be a focus, but at the same time, she can't really participate in the story, but she is the focal point of the story. So we didn't need her to go anywhere, but at the same time, we have to show character and age and lovability on her face. And we did, again, the rendering on her face is astoundingly, it's breathtakingly well animated. It's like, oh yeah, my God. And of course, and what's so great with Coco, and what we build to with Coco, without getting too much into it, is again, every little movement that she has, and again, because we know she's a very immobile character, that makes like every little movement kind of goes a longer way. It's sort of like almost like a Harry Belafonte thing. Harry Belafonte he was known for being on stage, and he'd be very, he'd stand very still. But of course, when the music hit, he any gesture he make will blow people away, because oh my God, that guy's so stiff and he never moves. So, oh my God, it's yes, again, so much character in Coco, and even with the littlest bits of dialogue, when she says Papa, Papa, it gets heartbreaking.
No, that Papa shit, all right, that is haunting. Okay,
it is
haunting.
It says Papa coming back.
God, you're right. Very.
And I just realized that it's actually kind of like foreshadowing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of that her father is trying to come back.
And so let's just get into it. Well, no, never mind.
One thing I want to mention about Coco as well is that she sorry, crap, I just had it. Oh God, she Coco. Darn it. Son of a. Oh no! Actually, I got it. My own stupidity. I got it. Okay. Yes, it's the fact that her onset, the onset dementia at the very beginning. There's such a kind of a strong note to hit the fact that okay, she has memories because she calls. She mistakes Miguel for Julio for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if you guys caught this or not. Maybe on the rewatch, but Julio was her husband.
Okay, so Julio is the guy with the big mustache.
Yeah,
right?
that's him. Yeah, that was her husband.
Okay, by the way, I thought he was a fun character too. He doesn't have a lot to do, but I liked his presence.
I like the family. Part of me wish maybe they got more to do, but again, it's a movie economizes its source. It doesn't.
Honestly, I think the whole point of the movie is that it's these giant families. So I mean, of course, you're not gonna you're not gonna have time to develop. For example, I barely know who the
living families.
Well, no, I was also gonna say I barely know who. Oh God, the Tios are.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun. We have Tio and the easy way to
Tio
remember
Oscar and Tio Felipe. Which is I barely know anything about those guys at all.
It's really funny. The gag with that is it's like an Oscar and Felix from The Odd Couple.
I got that. Yeah,
and it's kind of funny. The easy way to remember is
it actually is Felipe and Oscar.
Yes. So yes. Anyway, you have the Tio brothers and you have the Tia. Ants, basically the Tia ants. The idea is I don't know if they were named identically or not. Or could it be just they were inspired by the other generation or not? But it's like Tia Rosita and Tia Victoria. So the point is you have the Tios and the Tias.
I liked all the designs of the family at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, I love that we get one of the Tias. I really loved their design. It looked kind of very reserving, again, kind of in the similar. She was a character of very few words, but again, she was still like, that was her.
I think you're talking about Tia Victoria, right?
Yeah. I think that's the one. She had the really kind of stone-faced picture.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. I love that.
It's like some of these characters. It's like they're never really meant to like have these, like. And I think it's actually kind of a smart thing that really Miguel, Imelda, and Hector are like the big three. They're like the Nemo, Dory, Marlin. You know what I mean?
They are. Yeah, you're right.
So it's like really the rest of the film. It's kind of like gravy.
Yeah, and of course her giant chimera.
Of course.
And her giant chimera is awesome.
It is.
Anyway. Okay, okay, so let's see.
I want to see an animatronic of that at a Disney park.
Of course, in the dark, glowing like a dark.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, let's see. So I guess we should get to one of our big selling points of the movie.
Yeah, De La Cruz.
Oh man, I love De La Cruz. He's awesome.
Is this where we should get into the spoilers?
I figure no. Let's save it for the twist. Let's talk about.
Okay. Oh man, we're going out of our way to hold on to these twists. Okay.
I'm just saying again. We'll bring like kind of the tapestry of twists and turns. We'll get there.
So. Can I just go off on the marketing really quick? I really don't like how late in the movie's marketing, they really started focusing on the skeleton version of De La Cruz.
I was able to avoid it, so it didn't bother me.
Well, good for you. Monkey actually, on the way to Monkey School, there's a billboard, like a giant billboard with skeleton De La Cruz. And so Monkey literally couldn't avoid it. Like it's not like he could just avert his eyes when he was driving, you know what I mean? But
how you like that name now, Monkey? How you like it now?
But no, I'm just saying. I just think it's a little bit of a disservice to the movie, the fact that we know that like obviously De La Cruz is going to show up.
Well, we knew he was dead, Tiki. That's the thing. We knew he was. We were going to see him as a skeleton.
I guess, but here's the thing: it shows him palling around with Miguel.
Oh, he knew that was his destination.
I guess.
No, it's this thing. A lot of just kind of fill in the blank. Like you think for a moment, oh yeah, we'll get there eventually. I don't know.
But De La Cruz, he is a lot of fun. I really like how they build him up, like especially like visually. And this is kind of what I'm saying, like obviously I knew he was going to be a skeleton. I just didn't want to know exactly what he looked like as a skeleton. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, again, De La Cruz going in this movie was the stuff I was most excited to see because I love when Pixar is like historically accurate like this. And of course, when with De La Cruz you have, and again, I love Benjamin Bratt in interviews. He's kind of stated this, and I think he's absolutely on point. That he got it. He got it so well because he basically played him like the Sinatra of Mexico.
Yes.
And we saw that in the.
I took it more as the Elvis of Mexico.
Okay, you're right. I'm saying
that's actually what I was gonna say. It's like a Sinatra meets Elvis kind of guy.
Right.
He's kind of
like the whole like the deep voice movie star / actor.
Yeah. He's kind of like a combination of three things to me. He's a combination of, like, I'm just saying Benjamin Bratt refers to as Sinatra, which I can absolutely see, but I think you're right. There's a lot of Elvis. It's kind of Elvis, Sinatra.
I say, like, maybe with the performance, it's a little bit more like Sinatra, but I think definitely in the way the character's portrayed, like his history and his movies and everything are more in the Elvis style.
The one I'd argue as a third one would be Nat King Cole, because Nat King Cole had a thing where he was put in movies, he didn't necessarily like it, but then again, you could say the same for Elvis, so it could just be a simpler Elvis Sinatra combination. But I don't know, there's a lot
of course, there's also like a bit of a Lone Ranger flair as well with his movies.
That's exactly. So I mean, there's I love the old a bit of Fairbanks in there too, with like kind of again like the house parties and the fact he has like the mustache and that sort of a bit of Doug Fairbanks in terms of like how he lives up the old Hollywood aspect of it. So I mean, there's a lot of great influences on De La Cruz and how he lives in like again the black and white films. I love just seeing Pixar tackle black and white, the old films and such, and the fact they play it on a loop in his big house party.
I love that. I love how that's almost creepy to me. It's almost kind of like a bastardization of his history.
It kind of hints at his massive ego.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and he
Like,
also
it's almost like, hey everybody, look how great I am.
and the scary thing is celebrities do that. Like I've heard all those rumors of like well, like and I'm going to take it that I'm going to take it to life that actually
there's
happens,
also a
but
lot of
it's-
celebrities who don't even like to watch themselves act on screen. So
I'm saying like I've heard like rappers, they play Scarface on a loop, or they play
rappers,
their own work.
absolutely, yes.
Or they
God,
play their
I
own
mean,
work
I
on
don't
a
want to
loop,
get into it, but rappers are some of the most egotistical people on the planet.
That's what I'm saying. It's like people living up to, basically like they're kind of celebrating themselves to the nth degree, and I think you have that to a bit with De La Cruz. But again, you still have kind of that old school Hollywood Fairbanks living it up, where you have him, when let's just say when he meets Miguel, he's taking him all over the place.
Oh, I love that montage.
That montage feels very much of that's old Hollywood.
Have you met my great grandson?
They're right there. Again, it's right on the money. And again,
No dimple.
So everything I wanted with De La Cruz, my expectations were lived up to with De La Cruz. I was very happy about that.
Of course, and I'm excited to talk about the reveals.
Oh yeah, so let's say we're almost there. So let's just, I guess, anything else we want to really kind of say with De La Cruz? Of course, he has a great design too.
He has a great design. He's got a great voice. As we said, I love how they established the mythology around him throughout the film. Yeah, not much else. I like how throughout the movie, his his house on the hill is kind of like a constant beacon.
Would you say that House and Hill got him a thumbs up?
I would say so. Yes. Anyway.
From someone, I don't know, maybe his puppy.
yes, Trigon. I would say it gets a thumbs up from Poppy.
Okay.
All right. God. Okay, so you want to talk about the world building?
Yes.
It's incredible. It's absolutely fucking incredible. I can't. This is what, like, I literally am experiencing what people back in the day, like, I never really got the whole hype about Avatar. Like, don't get me wrong, Jacob, like, you've experienced Pandora. I'm excited to experience Pandora at Avatar, Animal Kingdom, very excited. I never really got the hype about the movie, but I've got to say, seeing it 2 times, like, literally, I saw it. So essentially, I saw like the 7 p.m. screening the night it came out, Tuesday night. Then I saw like the 1 o'clock screening the next day. And by the night of the, of the second day it was out, by the night of Wednesday, I was like, I need to go see it again. Like, I need to be in that world.
Tiki, let me paint you a little watercolor here, a little quick watercolor. Imagine this. You're at the Disney park. It's night, and they have like just all the lights are lit up. You got the fireworks and everything. But imagine this, okay? You with me?
Yeah.
Imagine this. In front of you, is like as you walk the bridge, or like you basically as you walk your way entering the park, where you're on the ground, it's nothing but marigold petals. But again, it's like nothing. But again, the only thing that's lit, you have like the highlights lit, and only the lights and the lights and the fireworks and everything. It's all good. Like, there's an experience for it. It's similar.
Speaking of fireworks, I love the way that fireworks are worked in throughout the movie.
Oh, yeah, of course, we have like the skull fireworks, and it all so well kind of. I'm just speaking skull. Then the skull motifs all over this. If you look, it's like a Where's Waldo skulls everywhere built into the design.
Oh yeah.
Of these shots, again, you'll see like small skulls. Again, I love how like they're all naturally laid over each other. And Tiki, here's an analogy I got for you. It feels like the Land of the Dead feels like it's a vast expansion of our world, or another way of putting it, it's like a far more inviting Upside Down. In a way.
yes.
It's like a far more inviting Upside Down. It's really festive. It's got great design. It's got a lot of color.
I've heard people joke that it's like, I hope this doesn't give kids the idea of like, oh man, I want to die so I can go to the Land of the Dead.
We did have that great line though. Of course, if you rewatch, it's even funnier. We have that great line. I hope you die soon.
Like, you know what I mean?
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
I actually heard that. I mean, the theater I was in was like a lot of adults with their kids and all that. But, well, don't get me wrong, it wasn't as bad as I just made that sound, because they were actually very into the movie. But several people actually clapped at that joke.
No, but seriously, like, this is like, we're talking, like, I've always been terrified of death. Like, I've always been someone who subscribed to the very pessimistic idea that it's like, okay, once you die, it's essentially just blackness forever. just forever. It's going to be like staring at a black screen forever until the end of time. But if this is what death is like, fucking sign me up, man. I'm stoked. Like, it's just a fucking big party.
Tiki, if only we had some friends from the other side.
Oh God, right?
If only we could have like a exchange program of some kind. I don't know.
I love the way that the buildings are all just topped on each other. I love the way that just the streets just flow organically. Like it's just totally. It's almost like a Picasso. You know what I mean? It's almost like like Picasso in the form of a city.
Also, we should probably hit the fact that not only do we have one excellent memorable marigold bridge, we have several.
Yes, yeah.
Several, and they look amazing.
Well, I mean, I assume there's like thousands of marigold bridges. Like, I assume that it stretches like on and on.
Oh yeah. Speaking of artists, of course, is with the art design. Again, a lot of especially the Alabrije things, kind of due to Frida Kahlo. And guess who's in the movie?
Who?
Frida Kahlo.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, Tiki, voiced by someone.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying, I love some of like the visual gags in that scene, like especially the whole skeleton when not wearing anything. It's basically their way of saying, "Yep, they're doing nude paintings."
Now, see, that gag I appreciate a lot more than Zootopia.
Yeah, right.
See, that's a classy version.
Well, to be fair, they don't linger on it like they do in Zootopia.
It's like,
okay, fine. I'll give you a better example. It's a lot better than they do in Hotel Transylvania, where it's like,
well, I've never seen Hotel Transylvania, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, you just wait to one of these.
I just like I hear Miguel just like looks and he just like he sees it and he just covers his eyes and walks away.
Okay,
respecting the lady's privacy.
Right, good femurs. Anyway, so Frida Kahlo, she's voiced by wonderful Natalia Cordova Buckley. Now, Tiki, do you remember Natalia Cordova Buckley?
You know, the name sounds familiar.
The only way I recognize her is she's Yo-Yo in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
She's Yo-Yo in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Tiki and I know her from Bates Motel.
Oh, God, okay.
Yeah, remember, she was Norman's lawyer.
She was Norman's lawyer. Okay. I believe you. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. All right.
All right, anyways.
Like, that's not the most interesting character in Bates Motel, but all right.
Well, she's good on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's a good actress, you know. A little kind of connective tissue, you know.
I'm just saying, like, you know, in the pantheon of Bates Motel characters, like, Norman's lawyer isn't exactly one that, like, instantly springs to mind. But, anyway.
Well, I guess I'm going to the Land of the Dead next. He just killed my point just now. Anyway, but Frida Kahlo, again, I really do like how Miguel kind of gave her some pointers and how it kind of paid off in the act of the big entrance for De La Cruz with the music and everything on fire.
Uh-huh. I already mentioned the ghettos, but that's probably my favorite location in this whole thing, and just because of how worn down, and it's like a shanty town. You know what I mean? That's why it reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean a little bit.
Yep.
But
man, I love just with the world itself, because we talk about the architecture, and the architecture is fabulous.
I need to again. It's like I absolutely, like, I didn't experience it myself with Avatar, but like with this movie, I absolutely understand where those people were coming from now.
So, Dee, you've talked a lot about the architecture, just kind of like, you know, the different sections of town, which is great. But I'll tell you my favorite part of the world building. My favorite part of the world building is I love just the grand. I love the entry point. I love the Grand Central Terminal / departure border, if you will. I love how it's so simple, but I love it so much. I love how the staff is friendly. I love how
I know you've talked about this.
We have this friendly stuff like she's credited as departure agent. So I'm just going to call it like, I guess, like a department. Yeah, it's departure. I'm
Frida Kahlo.
Yeah, that gag. But I love who Hector kind of goes up to. She's voiced by Carla Medina. Now, Carla Medina, she's the one who does the voice of Trixie in the dub for Toy Story 3. And I mean, she was so. I mean, again, the design hit me just right. Again, that's where I'm starting to get an influence. It suggests so much.
I love how pleased she was when Miguel got to go across the bridge at the end.
When Hector got to.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Hector. But you know what I mean. She's like,
Yeah.
oh, your picture's up.
That's what I'm saying. Even though Hector was trying to pull fast one on her, she was still really nice and cordial.
Right.
You know, she was so, you know,
Like she's still pulling for Hector.
And honestly, Tegan, here's the thing: as much as I love her, and I love her as just the one-off character who's memorable, and she.
No, I
came
mean
back
you're
and,
absolutely right, Dragon. I kind of had the same thing. It's like I kind of had to laugh when you were kind of describing my experience with that character when you were talking about it. But
she was really pleasant. I really liked her.
Yeah.
But beyond her, all the staff. When you think about it, all the staff are nice guys. Because remember, think about it, you
like
have
the customs agent.
Yes, again. So we have there's the departure agent. That's the language. And then you have basically two others. You have the clerk, who is Gabriel Iglesias. The clerk's the one who I have no nose. That guy. And again, he was a good character. He was a nice guy. He didn't like all this paperwork. It's like, no, give the dog away from me. And I love this too. Like detail. He basically took his Day of the Dead offerings and he put it on a plate. So that's why he has his snacks on the plate that Dante's going for there. And with the officer's one of my favorites, Cheech Marin as the officer. And what he's doing is he's he basically deals with Hector and he says, no, just I'm gonna go see my family. I want to go see my family. Yeah, you're
like Mr. Bailey from Hey Arnold.
Exactly. I mean, guys, look, these are nice, relatable guys. Like, I'm not saying we should make a sequel.
That's one of the things about the world of this movie is like even like some of the band that Miguel meets at they're
nice guys too.
Yeah,
they're all nice. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not saying we should do a sequel. If we did a short with the customs guys, I'd be so down for that.
First of all, I absolutely do not think this movie do not make a sequel to this
movie. I know. I'm saying like short. I just want to spend more time in this world.
Don't.
It's like shorts or something. I don't know, like a little bonus feature. I love these.
I could see shorts, but just no sequel.
I know. I'm saying no sequel.
This is like the definition of a standalone movie.
I got it. I'm going with this up. I got it. Anyway, so of course,
also with the customs thing, I'm kind of surprised you haven't brought this up, Dragon. But I love the detail of
the facial recognition software.
Yeah, the facial recognition, right,
yes, and it's great how it kind of locks into the altar photo and how it kind of how the bridge just fails. I love my technical stuff. I love the bridge, like it's a big old flower effect. Basically, the skeleton is like swimming in flowers. And
that's a great way to kind of like get some dark thematic stuff in with Hector before you even realize what's going on.
It's like you're swimming in the flowers that are left of your grave instead of like walking among them. It's it's so much great stuff. And of course, it's with the pedals. The pedal transport. I love it. I love Tiki from the plot perspective. I got to address this, so don't forget that. So I love the pedal transporting you home device. I love when we get that because it's an instant solution. Again, it's like pulling the rug out from us here. It's like, okay, it's like we're thinking it's gonna be a long drawn out thing. Male's gonna have to do this and that to get the okay home. But no, it's family. His family loves him and they want to make sure he gets home all right. And of course, to kind of get Melda across the bridge. Okay, you go home. I give you my blessing, but of course, in the rules of like you give the blessing, but you give it with rules and limitations and stuff.
Really quick, I love how fed up the voice actress for Imelda is when she's giving Miguel her blessing.
Yes,
Miguel,
that's
I give you my blessing.
But at the same time, I love how she's like saying, "But," it's always it's with the catch, and again, I just love that it's like an instant solution. Again, we're cutting through like, okay, well, how are we going to get home? Here's how you get home, and it's very instant. And then, of course, he screws it up, and he's back, and I love that. The family is the underlying obstacle in that situation. That's the underlying obstacle. It's not like he can get home anytime. Any one of them will send him home, but
right.
He has to earn. He has to get home through his own way, and like he gets in his own way in that road. I love that.
Yeah, I mean that's a very clever way to kind of like subvert like a predictable plot. You know what I mean?
That's what has me salivating over this film, Tiki. That's the thing right there. It's like,
I hear you. I hear you, Dragon. I totally hear you. All right. I guess really quick, I also really love how the nighttime scenes on Earth, like the realm of the living, whatever you want to call it. I just love how festive it all looks. I love the the opening, like when Miguel first turns translucent and he's running around with all the skeletons.
I love how he timed like the break of the glass with the firework.
I'm glad you brought that up, Dragon. That was, oh god, I don't know what that is. Again, with the atmosphere in this movie.
And again, I love that he felt bad about it too. Again,
Uh-huh.
that's a kid. That's a good kid right there. That's what you want. He's a good kid, but he's not perfect. No.
Also, I'm calling it right now. All right, I mean, just mark my words on this. Mark my fucking words on this.
What do you got?
There is going to be an Ernesto de la Cruz shrine at a Disney park that's going to be part of a queue to a Coco ride.
Oh my god, that would be. Well, no, wait a minute. Yes, but I'm just again what we do with Cruz. I gotta wonder though. We would have an altar, but
well, that's true. That's true. But you know what I mean, though. Yeah, it's like we got to see the picture and the guitar.
we're definitely getting that guitar. I don't care what anyone says. We're getting that. Even if we don't have a ride, we're getting that guitar.
right.
We're just gonna have like in a case somewhere. Just gonna be like it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at Disney.
They'll stick it in Cars Land somewhere because Cars Land is really good about Easter eggs.
They're gonna put it. What Tiki? Oh god, is that an idea?
What? Oh god.
In a section of Cars Land.
Oh man.
Imagine if you had this like basically we had an elfin graveyard of like a scrapyard for cars as the cemetery.
Well, I mean, they do have a junkyard in Cars Land.
Okay, maybe if not junk, then let's just say something a little more. I don't know. It's basically a place where we know dead cars are there, which I guess would be a junkyard. I mean, have you ever seen a junkyard? I don't know. But Mater's kind of at a I don't know. Points like 8 yard where cars have been like the demolition derby or something. But I don't know. We have a place of dead cars, and that basically you'd have a Day of the Dead section through that. Like let's say around Halloween or close to Halloween, they have like a whole the theme for that area.
I was actually there for Halloween at Cars Land, and they did some pretty cool stuff with it.
Huh.
They actually did have a zombie car.
I'm saying, if not a ride, at least a very cool Epcot attraction.
Sure.
Well, like I said, Jacob, I would be shocked if in the next 5 years, the Fiesta whatever with the 3 Caballeros is it turned into a Coco attraction. I'd be shocked.
I think Jake is very on the money with you. I mean, Coco has to be a certainty for Epcot at the very least. It's got okay.
All right.
All right.
So should we get into the twists finally in the big
What about the music, Tiki?
Oh God! Oh man!
Tiki, the music's very important to the movie. We got to talk about.
Fine, okay. Oh God! I just did the twists, man.
The showstopper itself.
The music's gonna lead into the twist.
All right.
All right.
So remember me. God damn it! This doesn't win Best Song at the Oscars. There's something wrong with the Oscars.
So I have to say goodbye. Remember me. Don't let it make you cry.
No, of course, the great thing about Remember Me is just in how many different contexts they use the song.
Yes, I mean we have all these great alternates, and they're beautifully taken. They're beautifully strategic. All of these versions of it. So think about this. Okay, the 3 versions that Remember Me. Of course, there's like one place where the credits. That's just it's okay, but the 3 that matter are this. Yeah, the first one is about legacy. The first one's about legacy. It's about Cruz. Essentially, looking at Cruz like a Sinatra type. This is Cruz's My Way. This is
and he's singing it like literally right before he dies.
Exactly, and Tiki. That's important. I'm so glad you brought that because again, it is a moment that again, it's Cruz at the height of his career. It's him in the middle of his My Way. Remember me. Although I have to say goodbye, remember me. Well, let it make you cry. Again, he's on. I love the sad thing, and that's playing the old Hollywood. But I'm really digging it.
Basically, for spoilers, like most spoilers, like remember me, but not the person who actually made the song.
Yes, and I love that it's him at the height of his career, and of course, it is tied famously. It is tied to death because he's killed by the bell. He's killed. Literally, the bell tolls for him quite literally as it falls and crushes him to death. Which, by the way, that in the Pixar film, I think it's a new one. Crushed to death by a bell.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this is one of the darker Pixar movies with some of that.
We have death and murder in this movie. That's so, but yeah, I mean, again, the fact that the first song's about legacy, about like the stuff that he's built about. Hey, remember me. I remember all the stuff that I've done before I die, and of course, hey, I die. So again, it's about death and legacy. The second one is probably everyone's. I don't know. Again, they're all three of them really great versions. I mean, 2 might be my favorite, but again, 3 is also really good, obviously. But the second one is a beautifully touching goodbye. Again, kind of playing into not death, but it's a goodbye, and importantly, a bond of family. And what's so great is that the third version bridges both of those previous versions. It is a bridge to both that evokes memory and kind of an upside to lost family, and that you've lost family, they've said goodbye and they are dead, but you are reconnecting with them, you're reconnecting to the memory, therefore you are remembering, and of course memory applying to Coco in context.
Let me just say this: the second and third times they played, outside of the De La Cruz versions, they both brought me to tears.
Yep.
And again, I also love that gag we have, Remember Me, where like everyone sings Remember Me, and of course it's like, again, it's like the My Way, and everyone's like the presenting like, variations of Remember Me, just like discouraging Miguel, like, okay, but we're not gonna do Remember Me.
I think it's like a subtle clue or anything.
Could be.
Yes,
Could be.
it is. No, it's absolutely a subtle clue that Hector has a distaste for that song.
Oh yeah.
Mainly because of a spoiler alert.
Yeah. Let's see. I love that the dead love to celebrate music, and to me, that kind of thematically feels like it's like almost like a pulse for the dead. That's what music. I think that's why the dead love music. I think it's because it's like a pulse when you have none.
And it fits in with Mexico too. They really love music.
Absolutely, I'm kind of tying things together, but yeah. Of course, we celebrate. I'm sorry, I already covered that. Let's see. We help. Again, the music, of course, helps. Just the movie as a whole, of course, Mike Giacchino does the score, and of course, some of the lyrics, for the most part, done by Kirsten Robert Lopez, of course, our Frozen lyricist.
Mm-hmm.
An excellent job there. We have just a list of songs. Of course, we have the various versions of Remember Me. We have Everyone Knows
Juanita.
Yes. We have Un Poco Loco.
I really like Un Poco Loco.
And again, I love that each of these songs are different. They bring something different to the table. Like Un Poco Loco is, it's a fun, silly song. And of course, in that scene, Miguel learns kind of I forget what the actual term for it is, but maybe you'll know, Tiki. Do you know what they call the little call sound?
Oh god.
You essentially do like a caca sound, but it's it's kind of like the Ariba caca sound. Yeah, it was like basically like letting out a silly noise, kind of get everyone in like a festive mood at the beginning.
This is the first time we see Miguel play guitar too, right?
Yeah, this is his big. We've seen him, but no one else has seen.
Well, yeah, right. This is the first time we see him perform. Yeah,
yeah, it's him getting again. We see him getting over stage fright and stuff. And
no, I really like how Un Poco Loco plays. It's such an energetic song. It makes me happy listening to it.
Makes me happy.
It's kind of funny that his first performance is technically in front of a lot of dead people.
Yeah, right.
He's got nothing to lose.
But they're good. But that doesn't mean they're not a good audience.
Yeah.
Of course, our introduction to Cruz is the world es mi familia, and of course, just the world being my family. I think it's very telling for Cruz's character, by the way, as a song choice. Like the world is my family. La
Llorona is that's actually a traditional Spanish song.
It's a beautiful song, by Imelda.
A lot of songs are actually in native Spanish. Makes me want to learn what they actually sing.
Well, no, I think it's just La Llorona is the only native Spanish song, actually.
Of course, we have a proud Corazon. Of course, Corazon meaning heart, and that's basically kind of the reunion scene towards the end.
And again, I really like that song too.
Yeah,
Corazon Dragon.
What did I say?
Yeah, sorry, never mind.
Oh, were you saying Corazon?
I was like saying because it's kind of related to something else.
I know, yeah, like Legend of Korra. Korra.
No, I'm so lost.
I was referring to. Never mind.
Oh right. Oh, I know. Oh wait, I know you. Yeah, the other Corazon. Oh yeah, I got that. I'm just I didn't know.
Again, I am so lost.
That's the thing. We don't want to. He's on the outside, folks. We can't tell. Okay. The point is, we've gone over. We could do a whole dissertation about the importance of music within this film. A lot of people have already done that, but I mean, we.
Well, of course, something to hit on. This is Pixar's first musical. I mean, that's a big deal.
You're right about that. Yes, it is Pixar's first.
And one of the things I like about that is that this kind of like eases Pixar into the musicals because I like how every song in this movie is a performance, but it's still like it's so naturally
weaved into the story that you can barely even like, you barely even realize that it's just basically a series of performances.
Tiki, I tell you, you gotta remember, Pixar ever since the beginning, their whole what gave them their big break is that they shied away from the musical. That's what kind of made them different. And the fact that, again, they've been very strategic and cautious when they've had music. And again, they've had songs in Toy Story, but they weren't sung. And of course, we've inserted music and like real tonal music. In this case, it's music that is not just random. We don't randomly break out in the song. We don't go through the town like. Oh,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I feel like this movie, like, it's a stepping stone to that. Like, I feel like after this movie, Pixar would be more comfortable doing a breakout into song type of musical.
But at the same time, they don't necessarily need to, because they just did so well.
No, I'm not saying they need to at all. I'm just saying this is a good stepping stone if they ever wanted to.
Sure.
It's good proof that they can do it. I mean, considering Lava was their last chance, this actually their previous chance. This was their one that proves it's like, yeah, we can do musicals.
Yeah. I bet you this: I can make a volcano sing, and I can move people to lava tears.
Also, I just gotta say this, all right? Like, I'm still kind of on the fence if I like this or Inside Out better, but one of the things I'm pretty definitive about, I love the songs in this movie, and I like the score a lot, all right? The score works really well. I definitely think the Inside Out score is better, but I'm just saying that because the Inside Out score is just, I think that is like an hour-long solid piece of music that just flows so well, like from beginning to end.
But again, it's kind of tomato, it's kind of apple and oranges there, because again, you have score versus song.
Right, because like the thing with the Inside Out score is like it's so multi-layered, like different instruments represent different emotions.
Exactly, so it's an unfair comparison in that regard, Tiki. But I mean,
all right, you're right.
And before we move on from the music, can we just say, what did you guys think of the whole mariachi rendition of When You Wish Upon a Star?
I loved it.
It was fun. I don't think I'm quite as over the moon about it as you guys were, but yeah.
Well, look, I'm just saying I like that it seems to be a trend with the Disney films of late, and with hopefully Pixar getting on the action a little bit too, because with Disney films of late we've been kind of spicing up the opening castle, especially Jungle.
They didn't do that with the last Pirates of the Caribbean though, even though they had the castle, like they basically had like a pirate fort in the trailer as the castle logo, but then it wasn't in the actual movie.
It's kind of weird. I don't understand why they do that.
I know. I was like, come on. I wanted to see like the pirate fort castle anyways.
All right. Are you ready?
I don't know. Is M. Night Shyamalan ready?
I think he is, but are you ready, Tiki? Are you ready to turn this town on its ear?
Oh, God. Yes, I think so.
Are you ready, kids?
Are you ready?
Oh, man.
Are you ready, kids?
So this is the most twisty of all the Pixar movies, bar none.
Like a pretzel.
Yep. God. And that's exactly why this movie is so hard to describe, because it's like almost like half of this movie is a spoiler.
But it's great.
All right. So do you want to just go like run through them one by one?
Oh, yes.
So I think Ernesto de la Cruz is the best Pixar villain we've ever had.
He's really good.
I'm saying he's the best rewatching it. I'm saying like Hopper's very, very intimidating. Sid, of course, is iconic. This guy is like, he's a great mix of course he's got the charm, but I also think he's just incredibly menacing with his with his plans.
It's very interesting. There's a lot of Charles Muntz in, again, with the up, inside out kind of.
It's very Charles Muntz, but I think it's done a lot better than Charles Muntz. Not to say Charles Muntz was bad. I just think this has a lot more development to it.
You're not wrong with that, Tiki, but I might on a different day, I might put up an argument for Muntz, but you're right, though. I mean, again,
I wouldn't. But
I'm just saying again, let's not get into it. I'm just saying they're both good, but it's kind of funny similarities. Again, kind of embracing kind of the old Hollywood, the old world. In this case, they're both mustache. They both literally have mustaches, and they're both,
They could be like Wallace, Shawn, and Irving on Mr. Robot. They could be.
I'm gonna say they have mustaches. Of course, they were literally the idols of our protagonists.
And except Muntz was more like hinged due to the fact that people didn't believe him, and De La Cruz is just more egotistically driven by his own fame.
To be fair, though, they were the only two Pixar villains, to my recollection, and definitely the two that come to mind with the biggest body count that they've killed people.
Definitely.
Muntz, I think, has a bigger body count, but
De
La Cruz is more vicious.
I mean, he's one of the few people. De La Cruz definitely is one of the few people on screen in a Disney animated film, Pixar or otherwise, to actually on screen commit murder.
Yes, and attempted murder.
Yep.
Oh yeah. So boy, I guess aside from just he's the villain, another reveal is that De La Cruz is not necessarily Miguel's great grandfather. Well, we know he's a not so great grandfather, but he is a not so great grandfather because Hector is in fact his biological great grandfather.
Oh God! Just don't. We don't have time to explain it, Dragon. Just don't.
It's a vaguely obscure gag. The point is, Hector was revealed to be actually.
You guys have to explain that to me later.
All right, but let's explain the great grandfather aspect of it. So again, now here's what's brilliant about this, folks. So much to unpack here. But let's start with the photo.
Oh, yes. It's like I need to get back to my daughter, my Coco.
And again, we heard him reference the daughter, and then a later scene is them given by name Coco, and that all comes into focus. And I love this from a plot standpoint, guys. I love this so much. The fact that we kind of killed two birds with one stone the best way is that Imelda can't leave because, as we know, Miguel took the photo. He took the photo, of course, had like the proof, like, oh my God, here's the guitar, which means the man in that photo with the missing face and seemingly in the all white, that has to be Ernesto de la Cruz. Who else has that guitar? I dare you to prove me wrong on that one. So he finds out that no, in fact, again, so Imelda, she can't get it because he has the photo, but at the same time, there's a missing face there, and you got to wonder, why in the heck is Hector? Why aren't there any photos of Hector? Again, why has his picture not been put up? He's in danger of being. We know he's in danger of being forgotten. He's got a ticking clock, and again, it makes all the sense in the world that for two reasons, he's missing his face on the photograph, which means he's not known by the rest of the family for that reason. One, because he's missing the face, and secondly, because Imelda. And I love this. Imelda brainwashed Elena essentially with all basically, she can like we don't mention his name, we don't talk about the guy. We cut out music from her life, which basically Imelda unknowingly, knowingly she killed Hector's legacy, which is killing him in the afterlife. Right. So again, Imelda, and again, I love just like she's killed the bloodline of this guy, and of course Coco. That it makes all the sense. It's it's a wonderful tapestry here, guys. It's a Coco. She's the only person that can remember Hector, and of course, as we saw, she's had memory problems. So everything comes together. It's so great.
You hear that, Justice League? That's how you do a come together.
It's all coming together.
All right. Anyways, I'm sorry, that was a dumb joke, but
unnecessary outburst aside.
Yeah.
It's like basically here's mine out. It's like all the breadcrumbs come together like a mosaic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When he started playing, when the flashback, when he started singing and he saw the flashback, then I was already crying. I was already moved to tears. But then when it's flashback to the young Coco singing, I was like, oh come on, like you can't do this to me, Pixar.
And that's not even the saddest scene of the movie.
No, it's not.
But again, this copyright betrayal, just again, basically we revealed that De La Cruz is evil Bob Kane. I loved it.
Yep.
De La Cruz is evil Bob Kane, and this is proof that Pixar can do anything.
This is why I think De La Cruz is the best Pixar villain, is because not only is he like a cold-blooded murderer, of course, but he has essentially like just completely bastardized just an entire man's life and passion.
That's pretty much what I told you guys said earlier. I mean, not that I'm taking credit for that statement or anything. But
no, I mean, you're right. You're right. I'm just kind of.
He killed Hector. He stole his legacy and his family.
Mm-hmm. It's like he took a lullaby, meant solely for Hector's daughter, and bastardized it for his worldwide fame.
Right,
exactly.
Right.
Turned it into it turned into a swan song.
And at first it's kind of like said that he see that he died, but realize it's actually karma, the fact that that bell fell on top of him, if you think about it.
Yes, and again, that's so brilliant about this.
Also, how good is it that the first thing we hear in the movie is the sound of a bell?
Huh.
You didn't notice that?
No, you're right. Oh my God, yeah, you're right. That is...
First thing we hear is a bell chiming.
It's beautiful.
Yep. I really picked up on that on the rewatch, by the way, the whole bell chiming thing. I was like, oh, that's clever.
Unfortunately, not all of us have seen it a second time. Believe me, Tiki, I'm going to see it, but not yet. I'm going to see it next week.
I know.
But yeah, I love the... I gotta concur with Jacob's point, though. The whole "Remember Me" on the rewatch is like, now it's sickening and horrifying when you think about it. It's like, oh God, it's a twisted level to it when you watch. Like, again, this big band thing I was in love with, and you're thinking about, oh God, that's what it means in that moment. It's beautiful. Again, he's such a vicious. He's so vicious and scary. He's your idol, betraying others and you, and trying to kill you for his own ego.
And that ties back to the Lopez's uses of lyrics that can have multiple meanings.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
that they've used before, like movies like Frozen, that has more deeper layers once you look into it.
I know, Tiki, you had to pick up on this. So this is we had that great scene with the Chicharron. One that kind of serviced the plot thing. Again, I'm dying for the plot of this movie. We need a guitar. So we need a guitar. We go to Chicharron, who's a friend of Hector's, and I was a friend of Hector's. He establishes the stakes that Hector is facing, of course, of disappearing. Sure. But also, we had the shot glass where he drinks to his friend. But again,
yes, I very much picked up on that. Even the first time I watched it, when they focused on the shot glasses, I'm like, okay, that's got to mean something.
And not only that, again, what's so twisted and dark is that, oh God, it's a Cruz. He was the guy who started the rumor that he choked to death.
Yes. Oh, God,
it's kind of funny, but it's so twisted.
Maybe it was that chorizo you ate.
I love it brings up some conversations like, "Oh, my friend, you're confused. Remember, you choked to death." It was hilarious.
I mean, the chorizo. I mean, he just brings it up so innocent. Maybe it was that chorizo you ate. Not the drink you just had that I obviously poisoned you with.
I love how it interrupts the moment. Like, okay, our guy's about to go home, about to get the blessing of the movie's about to be over, and then of course, hey, wait a minute. And again, the device here of the film repeating over and over again, which is why Miguel got time with the song. I'm saying big entrance. And when I was watching it, here's the thing. I think me and everyone in the theater, at least me, I think we are. You're watching it, and basically after he says, I have a great grandson. And basically he's going around and again, kind of Fairbanks style, like old Hollywood, going around, this is my grandson. You get a sense, and I love you can feel the suspicion, but you don't know that he's going to be a villain, but Cruz, he's going to, I was expecting, okay, he's going to be the relative who's going to disappoint. Again, you're going by numbers.
Kind of like a don't meet your heroes type story.
Yeah, you think he's going to use him as a device, hey, look, here's my living grandson.
Right.
And again, the minute I was like, okay, they're going that way with him. And then, of course, I'm going to send you home. I wish you could stay, but I'm going to send you. I'm like, okay, maybe he's not such a bad guy. Then, of course, big plot. It's like, oh my God, they have me. Oh God, they.
Also, one quick thing to mention about Cruz, am I the only one who was just absolutely blown away by the kind of weird Ferris wheel type thing that they used to get up to his party?
I'm sorry, you mean the house party? Or you mean just the big celebration?
I mean the house party, when Miguel sneaks in with the band, they're on that big Ferris wheel type thing that takes, it's kind of a combination between a Ferris wheel and a monorail.
Like tram thing?
Yeah. I remember. Okay, no, sorry, a tram thing makes it a little clear. Yeah, it was cool. But again, that footage, it's so twisted how I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep saying twisted. I'm trying to find the right words here, so it's a lot to take in. But Cruz, the fact that he put the scene of him poisoning his partner into a movie.
Yeah, I mean that is just hubris for you, right there.
That's him. He's so much. Again, Bob Kane was there's always a level of, he got his foot in the door. There's a little bit of complexity with Bob Kane. He did some bad stuff, but at the same time, there's some questionable stuff. And regardless. This is like Bob Kane completely villainized as
okay. This would basically be like if David Fincher made a biopic out of Bob Kane and like demonized him the same way he did Zuckerberg in The Social Network.
Exactly. That's the thing. Basically, if there wasn't like a little bit of like a small twinge of gray in the
right.
Story. But again, it's like completely villain on the wrong side there with De La Cruz, and oh god, it's boy, it's a masterwork. You know, it's again, Pixar can just take a copyright betrayal, work it into a villain reveal, and they can just take anything at this point, make it into a compelling masterwork, and I'm blown away. I'm stunned by it.
Dragon, I mean, we already did this off air, so please don't go on a tangent again. But that's another kind of like drunk dare kind of situation.
Yeah, okay. You know I could go.
Oh, I know you could.
Okay, anyway, so let's get to the big sunrise.
Like Haley, can you make a copyright character reveal?
All right, so can I just say like the one con I have?
Tread carefully.
I think it's a little bit repetitive that the plot of the movie essentially relies on Miguel winning music competitions.
Well, what do you mean? You just need to do it once.
No, I mean, well, I'm saying like what I'm saying is like in the first act, he's got to like, you know, he's trying to find the guitar to enter the music competition in the, you know, in the town square, and then he does it that other time, and then there's, I don't know, I'm just saying like it got a little.
Well, I would argue that it just the goal was the same, but he didn't get to complete it in life, so he literally did it in death. So I mean, it's the same act, but he was able to kind of do it in a better way.
The way I see it, it's kind of like a Chekhov's plot.
Yeah. But seriously, I think by far the thing that rubbed me the wrong way, and this is like, it's very, very minor. It only happens for like a couple seconds, but I really, really didn't like the alternative heavy metal skeletons during the talent show.
Really? Well, again, that's the gag. You're not supposed to like him. You know, it's like, you know, we just have like.
No, Dragon, I really thought that was just like, that was so out of character with the rest of the movie for me.
And that's the point. It's like, okay, we have a bunch of stinkers, then we're gonna have the guy who still bring it all home.
And the whole self-performing one wasn't.
No, but you don't understand though. Like I'm saying, like on a cultural level, those felt out of place. Like those characters felt like cartoons, whereas the rest of the. Like, literally every other skeleton in the whole film felt classy and elegant.
I'll take it. It's mighty slim pickings for a nitpick.
I think I might be the only guy on the planet who absolutely hates those metal skeletons.
I think you're right.
Anyways,
big sunrise.
Right. So, of course, you know, I love the way that the crowd plays into this.
Sure. Again, I just want to mention the landscape. We also had that great kind of pit in the Senate pit. Basically, it's like a giant sinkhole. It's a beautiful. Oh, it's so well animated. I just wanted to say that real quick. It's a beautiful looking set. They got out of that, and then of course they teamed up with Imelda and the Chimera and everything. The whole family was working together. And yes, continue.
No, go ahead.
So yes, you know, we have the big climax. Of course, we've been building this up ever since we got to the Land of the Dead. Basically, been going to like the big penthouse, been looking all over for De La Cruz, and we're finally. And I like that we were at this place technically before we went to rehearsal. Well, no, actually, I don't know. We might have been backstage with that place before. I can't quite recall. I mean, we're setting it up either way. But, you know, all comes to a head, and it was a very public forum where everyone in the Land of the Dead is checking this out. And of course, I love that as I can't tell you how much I lost. Just the perfect, and how perfectly said this was the person who's very against music, and again, I love that throughout this scene. Now we've paired Imelda with Hector up, and again, we have the drama there of you know, Imelda doesn't have to forgive Hector because Hector did leave. He wanted to come back, but he died because he was poisoned before he come back. And again, she hears him out, which is why she's feeling all complicated. But I love it's just, I may not be able to forgive you, but you are family, and I will help you, and that sort of thing. Which was nice. And again, throughout the scene, like now she's like, you know, they get off of the, you killed the only one. She's really whacking De La Cruz with that shoe. And oh my god. My friends and I never. I think I went to the theater with my friends and I, especially. We lost it when she just went up and just hit him like turned his head around like with that shoe, and again, like walks up to him and hits him, and then of course like you killed the only man I ever loved. You really mean that? That was the man you ever loved? I don't know. I'm confused. Like, that's why I love Imelda. There, it's just such a ball of like a nerve ball of emotions, but she's passionate whatever she's feeling, you know. And then of course the big climax, and of course we catch. A Cruz on camera admitting it, and we have the big Pixar matchstick moment, of course.
Right.
With the photo, of course, the photo of like, hey, we got to get this photo. So again,
really quick, Cruz basically attempts to murder a child.
Yes, and it's caught on camera.
Yep.
Caught on candid camera as he basically throws him off the ledge. Thank God that camera saved him just in the nick of time. But unfortunately, as the matchstick moment occurs here. He threw Miguel had the picture of Hector. They can put on an altar. They can save him. Hooray! Because again, as far as I know, it's the only picture of Hector ever. Period. All they got. He falls, and of course, as he's caught, the air current blows it out, and it hits the water, which means it cannot be retrieved. Which means Hector is a goner. He's going to be, basically the skeleton effect will go, and he will just completely be forgotten. And we have a really sad, tragic. I'm sorry if you guys want to jump in, by all means. I'm just going to keep.
No, go ahead.
Of course, we have a really sad, tragic scene where, again, I love this. I love how we keep going back and forth. Basically, everyone keeps giving Miguel their blessing, and of course, basically we show that Emelina, she comes around. I love that she came around because she had to sing on stage, and again she kind of saw she loved music, and that was the whole thing of the year. She loved music, but at the same time she was hurt by music, so she kind of moved on from it. She never because she wrote music with him. She was she fused the passion. He kind of betrayed her as she saw it. So again, I think it's like, hey, you perform music, just basically it's like just do whatever you want when you get back. And of course, in the last moments, the heartbreaking thing for me is like just saying, you have my blessing. No strings attached. You have my blessing. And And Miguel does not want to go because he just feels so horrible and guilt-ridden over no, you're gonna die a second time. And they love how they push the flower on because Miguel is not going. Man, I love that. It's so oh God. And then of course Miguel. Now we have the big heartfelt thing here, folks. Again, he grabs that guitar. He's running there because he knows this guitar is like the only link. He's the only shot he's got at saving Hector. He wants to save his great grandfather. He's running, and of course he has to go against the big albatross, if you will, Abuelita Elena. Someone who is not quite enlightened. You can't really explain anything to this lady. She's nice, but you can't explain it to her. You tell her you're not hungry. She's going to give you a whole bunch of tamales.
It takes her a second to realize that Miguel's holding the guitar, and then when she does, she just freaks out about it.
Again, he's locking himself. It's a really tense scene. He's locking himself in there with Coco, and he's just trying to jog her memory. And of course, it's getting desperate, and the family breaks down. I love that he just bursts into tears, and the family can in no way can grasp. I went to the land of the dead.
Right.
There's no. I love that again. Logically, there's no explaining to these guys.
Yeah, he doesn't even try. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I love how the father just kind of sees go on.
That scene again brought me to tears.
And again, as he's breaking down the tears, I love his father's kind of, the parents are minimal, but I like it. They were nice folks. So, I like the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so then, of course, as he's kind of breaking down there, of course, he goes up there, and again, it's like, apologize to your grandma. Again, it's really tense. And then he starts playing the guitar, and I think, okay, wait, you heard nothing of what I said. And he says, wait a minute, something's happening here. Because Coco is recognizing the song as he sings.
Remember me.
Although I have to say goodbye.
And yeah, just the animation on Coco is just absolutely haunting in this moment.
Oh God, it's the subtle yet powerful animation of memory being sparked by such a heartfelt song. It's fascinating.
Papa.
And then of course she kind of stirs away. And of course I love Abuelita in the scene. She's just being emotionally caught off guard. And she's coming around as the scene unfurls, and she's seeing, again, and of course Coco is saying, "What's wrong, Mija? What's wrong, Lana. It's a beautiful scene.
Just the big smile that Coco gives at the end of the song.
And I love this, and in that moment you can see her as a little girl. I love that throughout in Coco's design, she has those pigtails she had as here's like the braided hair she had as a little girl singing that song with her father who was leaving. That was his goodbye to her. And again, it's like the way she's reconnecting with her father, and it's oh my god, it's so beautiful.
And I gotta say, like, the moment rewatching this movie that's just gonna bring like instant waterworks every fucking time is Miguel's whole he loved you so much, Grandma Coco.
Oh god, I mean, again, seriously, just when she stirs away, just the hand movements and
the hand movements. Guys, I gotta say, like, I actually grew up with a great grandmother who lived to be like 105, and by the time she died, she was very much in the, like there was like nothing left. Like it was beyond Coco. You know what I mean? There was like she was like a shell of a person by the time she died. But
she was beyond the wrestling match stages.
Oh yeah, big time. Like the wrestling match stages were kind of like when I was a little kid. Right. But anyways. But I'm just saying, like, the way that they animate this old elderly woman, it's so incredibly accurate. It's haunting.
It's like, even though we had kind of our action climax, I love this, like, this is the huge emotional, again.
Like, this is joy becomes sadness.
Yes, and there's such weight behind all those, every little shake, every little work, like, again, that smile, and again, that line, again, I love how Coco, she's so, that minimalist quality with Coco just explodes on screen through such small, minute action, but it's huge.
Loving the passion, Dragon.
Yes, and oh god, it's again, you're fighting back tears. It's
and when she starts retelling Hector's story, and he's gonna be okay.
Oh yeah. Again, when she, oh god, this is the bit. Basically, if I was fighting back tears, again, I'd feel like water in my eyes. But it's like she's pulling out the drawer, and like I was like. Don't. She has the ripped photo.
Yep.
So that means Hector's saved. Even if he wasn't already saved with the memory, he's saved now.
And and she even did not even wrote poems to her. Like, I mean, that shows alone that he never really forgot about them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing. And again, that also speaks to Miguel's character too. Of like, despite everyone telling, like her mother probably cramming it down her throat, like, hey, forget your father. You left us. Your father. He's musicians. Hate musicians. But I would have liked to think secretly she got those letters from her father and she kept those.
Oh yeah.
But again, as the years went on, she gets just lost it. But she had them. And at this point, just like she locked them in a drawer, probably to hide them from her granddaughter. It's like, man, she just forgot them.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they all came back because of the power of music, man. Because of that connecting, that connection she had to her father through that guitar playing, that song that her grandson brought to her from the source. Oh man, it's a thing of beauty. So guys, I pose a simple question: what happens 1 year later?
Oh God. well, happily. Miguel finally has a baby sister.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
And he places Grandma Coco's picture on the Cabrera.
Oh god! And it's next to the picture of her as a little girl, but with the repair. It's like a Lilo and Stitch they're pulling right here with the repaired photo. Oh god! It's in that. There's a meltdown. Of course, we've met her, and now like the whole family's together in so many ways. And again, it's like yes. Her father was saved, and we know he was saved, but that little, just that beautiful photo. Again, it's such like that's the thing that probably hit me most. So just the reveal put an altar because it was coming. He didn't know when, and just like, it's inevitability.
That admittedly did bring me to tears the most.
I mean, it hurts, but it hurts in a familiar way. It's like, oh man,
it speaks to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And again, it's like the reveal again, just that reveal alone. Just like, it's like kind of that causal reveal, like it just kind of happens, and there's nothing you can't build to it, you can't anything. It just happens, and you have to roll with it. And I think there's maybe some poetic.
I mean, the fact that the land of the dead is so fucking awesome definitely softens the blow a little bit.
But again, there's there's a small bit of sadness there.
No, I mean, absolutely. You're absolutely right. There is sadness in it. I'm just saying it's kind of like a mix of sadness and happiness because, of course, then we cut to, like Hector is reunited with Coco. And really, it's like you couldn't have this movie without Coco dying and being reunited with Hector. You know what I mean? It wouldn't work.
I tell you, Tiki, this that moment of just seeing the three family members reunited. Hector and Imelda in a really good place, and just Hector greeting his daughter. Coco, and again, I love that.
And like I said, Coco, she like the skeletal version of Coco. She's like, she looks like slightly older, with the gray hair and everything. So
but
that's
at the
why.
Same time,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
At the same time, that's what I love about. While she still has the braided hair like the little girl. While in the Land of the Dead, while she looks she looks like her infirm counterpart. But at the same time, while she does look older, she still has the giddiness of that little girl. Now
exactly, she's like way more youthful. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, she's youthful yet again in that skeletal form. She may look older, but again, she still has that youth, and she can express it more. And
right.
And then the whole family they can coalesce together.
I'm getting chills. Right.
And Miguel is playing the music. He's embracing his passion. The whole family in support of him. Not only that, the family. It's on the next Day of the Dead, and they're interacting. Of course, when you do that really cool device we set up, where basically the people from the Land of the Dead, they're in the world. They're around their families. They can basically copy and kind of sample the offerings and stuff. Where he grabs his guitar and basically he can play right. Hector can play along with Miguel playing the end song, and it's a thing of beauty. It's again, the family's there, even though they're they're past, they're long gone, but they're there in spirit, quite literally. It's a thing of beauty.
All right.
In other words, it's Coco.
Okay, so the only other thing to do is just final thoughts, folks. Jacob, you want to kick us out?
Well, I mean, what else can we say that we haven't already said here, right? I mean,
right.
I mean, I pretty much said my open final thoughts at the beginning. I mean, there's not much more we can add. I mean,
I think out of the three of us, I'm probably the lowest on this, which, I mean, I still absolutely love it, so.
But I'm just saying, I will just say it's like, I was going in expecting to like this movie. I wasn't, but I ended up loving it. I mean, this is definitely up there for the Pixar, just like you. Like probably within my top 5 of my favorite Pixar movies now. It might even beat out my favorites. Who knows?
And I really hope that Pixar learns the lesson from this year of really audiences, with the obvious exception of The Incredibles 2, obviously. Audiences want original Pixar movies. That is what we are craving. You know what I mean? So I really hope this film kind of ushers in sort of a new renaissance of Pixar in a way.
But it's definitely Pixar at their peak.
Absolutely. Because, Inside Out was a masterpiece. The Good Dinosaur was basically the most accurate title for a movie ever. It was good. It was good. Yeah. Finding Dory I liked, but I certainly didn't love. I know some people love that movie. I liked it, Cars 3, I actually think Cars 3 is probably the best of the 3 Cars movies, but
there was another good one,
It's still it's not great though, but this is, oh my god.
As I can say, what more can we say? I mean, other than we would die for more, but it's probably not going to be. It probably wouldn't be worth it because nothing can really. And we're dying for more, but how can you even top this?
No, I really don't want them to make a sequel to this at all.
Exactly, it's we're dying for it, but we probably shouldn't get it.
Right.
But
I will say anything that we get in terms of sequel, Dragon's Right, I think this could lend itself to shorts. I also think eventually, the inevitable Epcot ride is going to be kind of a sequel.
Like I said, I wouldn't mind like a George and AJ kind of short. Maybe not as comical and stuff like that, but focusing on more of the world in a way.
Right.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, I'm very, very, very high on this movie. There's a couple minor little plot hole issues that I have with it, but I mean, yeah, just overall, it really is an incredible tapestry, and I think both of you guys are just obviously. I don't have to tell you this, but you're gonna love it the second time you see it. Like it's gonna be an even more emotional ride for you. And I just think with the plot reveals and everything like that, and like once you know all the reveals, I think the movie plays even stronger because it very much like you see how everything fits into place, and so. Yeah, like I said, I still don't think this is quite as good as Inside Out. I'm very reluctant to say this is better than Inside Out because Inside Out is such a special movie to me. But I mean, like I said, it's just like if this and Inside Out are both absolute like masterpieces, like like unequivocally some of the best films that Pixar's done, then we are definitely like in a bit of a Pixar renaissance. I'm crossing my fingers for. So. All right, Dragon, take us out.
All right. Pixar at this point is so well trained at pulling the same magic trick that you never get tired of. That's kind of how I'm looking at it now. Again, they pulled kind of another Up, another Inside Out, and again, it's a thing of beauty, and I want them to keep doing it too. It's they keep pulling the same magic trick. I don't care. It's magic being the operative word. I mean, it's a perfect movie.
It's basically they take an idea, you don't know how well it'll work, and then they make magic out of it.
Yep, it's to me it's a perfect movie. It's funny, it's beautiful to look at and to listen to. It's got cool animation, complex characterization. It's not shying away from humanity or death. It's a moving statement about life and family that perfectly captures Day of the Dead. At the same time, I think bottom line, Lee Unkrich needs to direct more. I will say that. I wanted Lee Unkrich to direct more because, this is the second film and he's done a fantastic job. I'm just brimming with self-confidence for the guy. But again, if this is his Up, I can't wait to see his Inside Out. I'll say that much if it does boil down to that. But he's doing it right, and I can't say enough nice things about this film. It's a beautiful, it's a great experience. It's kind of like with Remember Me. It's like I have a song, and I think it kind of fits the movie in a way. It's like Remember Me is a song that is stuck in my head, but in a way that when I think about it, it makes me smile. It's stuck in my head in a way that just makes me smile and makes me like sense. I'm gonna say that much. I'm gonna say, remember me, although I have to say goodbye. Remember me, but don't make you cry.
And this movie definitely will make you cry. Basically, if you don't cry, something's wrong with you.
Coco.
Coco.
Coco. Give me my Coco. I want
marshmallow.
Coco.
With marshmallows.
Remember
Actually, no, wait, I don't like marshmallows.
me.
And it could technically also be counted as a villain song now that I think about it.
Huh. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I don't think we brought that on it. And I mean, now that I think about it, it kind of does work as De La Cruz's villain song.
I think you're right.